It's bright. This is what you came for right now. This is what you came for. Hi. Hi. Hi, Clarissa. Hi. Hi. What's up? Pacific Rim. I have a dilemma because, well, I guess I don't have a dilemma actually. I have Pacific Rim, but it's on my iPad, which I'm live streaming on right now, so I can't watch it on the iPad. So I'm gonna have to get a link. Hi. Hi, Sarah. I'm good. How are you? I have chicken and waffles today. I have leftover wings. He's gonna really see the, even though I'm gonna want it. These letters are so small. I have leftover chicken wings with waffles. Pacific Rim. What's up? What's up? I'm just drinking coffee right now. Just coffee. Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is what we're watching. Pacific Rim, which is one of my favorite movies ever. So I'm going to be really into it because this is my movie. Hi, Pyroblast. Hi, everybody. I see you, Michelle's daughter. Lisa, what do I think about the Monique situation? I just been like really like sitting back watching everybody have like some really interesting conversations. I love that people are having kind of like a lot of really nuanced excuse me, dialogue about it. I definitely think that Black women are undervalued, and especially Black women comedians. But I also think there's something to be said for like, is this a little self-serving? I see people talking about that. Does it matter if it's self-serving, if she has a point? I see people talking about that. The Charlemagne thing, I don't know why people still watch The Breakfast Club or go on that show, as I continue to say over and over and over again. Like, the Monique situation is like an interesting thing, but like the Charlemagne shit, I'm just not even, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. Like, Charlemagne just like continues to be a trash person and people like continue to be surprised. Hi, soybeans. Hi. 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 We're watching Pacific Rim. We're gonna start in like 2 minutes, I guess. Yeah, Clarissa, like she has a point. Like she definitely has a point. No, like she definitely has a point. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Tamara. Black Panther is it's so highly requested that people want a good, the bad, and the ugly format review. So I probably will, yeah. Because it's like so requested. Hi, Naima. Hi, Gary. Hi. Leonard is a garbage person. Hi, Brooke. How are you? Good to see you, babes. I feel regardless of her intentions, it's still a real issue that should be addressed. Eating red beans and rice. People want to nitpick. I do think there's some nitpicking on Monique. And I also saw some people talking about, you know, it's harder to root for her because she has like a bad reputation. Which like I had chimed in on that portion of the conversation too, because fucking Doug and Jeff were talking about it on Twitter, and I was like, you know, I don't like people saying that she has a bad reputation, because even though she does have a bad reputation, like we all know Monique has like a bad reputation, I was like, but there's tons of people that have bad reputations but like still work, you know, like that's something that we really expect of like women, you know, like, oh, and especially like Black women have to be like nice and have to be like likable and have to be like agreeable, and if you're like not those things and you have like a bad reputation, that's used to like, you know, well, who cares because she has a bad reputation, you know. I was like, that is some horse shit. Like, it shouldn't be about that. Yeah, Pacific Rim. I thought I had a link, but I actually don't. So now I'm trying to find another one so we could start. As soon as I find a link, we're going to start. Pacific Rim, not Pacific Rim Uprising. If you guys see Pacific Rim Uprising, not that. That's like the new movie that's like allegedly coming out. Well, I'm not going to say allegedly, like it's coming out. Let me not say allegedly. It's coming out. I don't know why it's not playing. I could see people feeling like it's self-serving, but so what? I'm glad Monique ripped Charlamagne the trash a new one. Amy isn't funny. Any Academy Award winning actor should not have the argument she's having. Desmond said, Amy Schumer is not funny to me, but I understand why she's getting more money than Monique. What makes you say that? So do you think it's like the whole question of like relevance, like the relevancy thing? Like that Amy is more relevant than Monique? I found a link. Hi, Golden Lotus. Whoa, Black Panther is definitely not the greatest movie of all time, Ebony. And I agree with you that there was like a lot off with the plot as well. This chat is going, Brooke. Oh my God, were you here? So I didn't do one last week, but the week before, were you here for that one? It wasn't even that many people. But y'all were like, like talking. The chat was like, do. Like y'all been talking. But I'm good. I'm good, Brookie. They're saying that because she speaks out. Charlie Sheen. Mel Gibson was just in the fucking Daddy's Home 2 movie with Will Ferrell and fucking Mark Wahlberg and the Trinity Killer. Like, it's tons of people, especially fucking white men, if we're going to keep it 100, that have shitty reputations that are still acting and getting paid lots of money. So I really don't want to hear anybody talking about Monique, like, her reputation and how she, like, needs to act. Like, that I don't like. And that's really, like, a critique that we save for women. Like, and especially Black women. I really want to root for her, but I don't think anybody should be getting that kind of money. Right. Now, see, I agree with that, too. And I said that same thing on Twitter. I was like, you know, I think it's kind of a slippery slope to, like, galvanize the masses to, like, get you more money. I don't know. Like, you guys know, like, the anti-capitalist in me, like, I see her point, and, like, I see her point as part of, like, a larger picture about, you know, like, the devaluing of Black women and Black actresses and especially Black comedians. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, don't try to galvanize the masses to get you more money, because, like, 500K is not enough. Like, 500K, like, in this scheme of what we're talking about is not enough, obviously. But it's like, damn, bourgeoisie, like, you know, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I've mostly been watching a lot of the conversations, because I feel like the conversations around this topic have been really nuanced and interesting. Like, there's a lot of moving parts. Like, I see people talking about her quote unquote attitude and reputation. I see people talking about the whole question of like relevancy, and like I see people talking about like the valuing, devaluing aspect of it, and then like Charlamagne jumped in it, so now there's like people talking about that aspect of it, and then the aspect of like, should any of these comedians be getting paid $500, $600, $700, $1 million to do a special? Like, there's a lot of moving parts in this topic, so I've just been kind of watching all the different conversations that people have been having about it. Because I think it's really interesting to see. And I'm glad to see people like having different opinions and different viewpoints on it. It's cool. Monique has always been known to speak her mind, so what's really the problem? Because I want to know. Hi, Owen. I personally feel as though Monique is speaking on a conversation that is important, but the way she's making it seem as though Netflix undercut her isn't right. They originally offered her $1 million on audition, but she thought she was too good for that. The Diddy one, what? We're watching Pacific Rim with Idris Elba, and I'm about to start it right now. Play. Play. Why is it on mute? I gave it some time to load. Why does it say mute? Why does it say it's muted? Oh my goodness, come on. There we go. Got it. I just started it. So we're watching Pacific Rim. Let me know if I'm talking too loud. I do like that she went in on Charlemagne. I don't understand why black people, especially black women, keep going on the Breakfast Club. They don't like us. Man, for the same reason that niggas keep using Shea Moisture. I cannot tell you. Like, niggas don't want to learn. But whatever, that's fine. Whatever. But didn't they just give Chris Rock and Tracy Morgan millions for their specials, but they're not relevant? The fuck? The one before was The Fifth Element. Yeah, you were here for that. Yeah, the chat was going. I can never think of his name. I just be like Trinity Killer. It's trash, especially after what they did to Janet Mock. Trash. Until someone on the Breakfast Club says something that is truly polarizing, the celebs don't want their sponsorships and whatnot pulled from them, they will keep going on that dumb show. I'm watching my movie, sorry. People still let Johnny Depp act in their movie, so it is what it is. Woody Allen is only just now starting to catch some heat. Like, Monique is not the only female celebrity who has a diva reputation. I saw somebody else said Charlie Sheen. Like, there's tons of people that have, men especially, that have, like, shitty reputations. Black Panther's plot, hi Umi, I see you, was competent, a step more competent than most Marvel movies even, but it wasn't some genius brainchild. The weight of that movie lies in its visual and cultural significance. I agree with that. And I also will say, though, like, Black Panther probably was, like, better than the last 10 Marvel fucking movies combined, multiplied times 10. And I think that is also, because people are used to those Marvel movies, like, being garbage. So the fact that this one actually wasn't garbage is, like, a shock. Oh, somebody said, they like my glasses. Thank you. I think maybe it was her method more so than her point, because she does have a point. No one can dispute that. I agree 100% with Monique on black women erasure, but don't tell me to boycott Netflix where there's a lot of black content creators getting their opportunity. That seems a little selfish. Now, see, what I was thinking, and I said this on Twitter too, was like, I think I would like respect her telling people to boycott a little bit more if she said something like, you know, you guys boycott Netflix and we're going to boycott Netflix. All of us, you know, black comedians, we're getting this money for these specials. We're making all this money for Netflix, which is subscriber based. Maybe like we will pull out also, and we will pull all our money into, you know, Bounce, which is a black owned network, or Quality TV, which is like a black owned streaming service where we can like put our content. I would have been like, Monique, I'm with you, you know, but like, oh, boycott until you get more money? I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. Dave Chappelle got 50 million, I believe. Is it me or is it harder to find links to watch movies? My site's been acting up. Yo, mine have been too. No, it's not just you. It's not just you. They're trying to crack down. Hi. No, they only offered her $500,000 and it wasn't negotiable. I love black people and really want to support each one of us, but I don't know, classism, I have weird feelings about celebrities. Oh, you're talking about Black Panther? No Black Panther spoilers? I don't know. We might talk about Black Panther. I can't promise that. Bye, Lisa. Hi. We were drift compatible. Her approach is very self-serving and a little egotistical, low-key. I feel for Monique because now she's definitely going to be outcasted. Yeah, she wasn't blackballed before. Oh, what's happening now? I see you, Gary. Hi. The Breakfast Club at this point is only here to troll people in order to stay relevant. Because at the end of the day, none of them have anything interesting or intelligent to say, so I don't pay them any mind. Exactly, Brooke. Beckett boys, you're gonna get your ass kicked. I'm looking at, I don't want to say it. Movies, if you guys can count. Because I don't want YouTube talking about I'm encouraging illegal activity. Here we go. I love this movie. Every time I watch Pacific Rim, it's like the first time. I love this movie. Pacific Rim. I think the black community is not seen as individuals. If Monique, as a black woman, is not given her worth, that sets the tone for black women in all work fields. Said Sadie M. I think the part that really irks me about the Breakfast Club is Yee's agreeable behind. Like, she has no backbone whatsoever and no principles. So I agree, Tamara. Half the time I'd be like, why are you even here? Like, she don't ever talk. She never has any interesting conversations, like questions, anything to add. She just be agreeing. Or sometimes if it's like a reality show person on there, she asks them about, they have Masika on there. She asks her what she think about Alexis Sky and shit like that. Like, bitch, I like some good baby mama drama just like everybody else, but like, maybe have some other shit to talk about sometimes. I don't know. Neural handshake initiated. Hi, Tim. I'm not going to read any of this, like, Black Panther stuff. I'm not going to read it out loud, because just in case, for people that watch this later and stuff. But I see the conversation you guys are having. Hi, Andre. Oh, you never seen Pacific Rim Soybeans? You watching it? Doesn't it look amazing? I love it. This movie, I would say, had some of the strongest special effects of the last 10 years. Underrated. And I love that Idris Elba is the boss. First of all, don't ever touch me. Second of all, don't ever touch me. Zoom. Here we go. Age before beauty, old man. Angela Yee has never spoken up for black women on the show. That's why she's there. Honestly, I never really gave them any attention unless someone I really like was on their show. And even then, I thought the three of them were fools. I've been paying the Breakfast Club dust for quite some time now. Charlemagne has said it himself. He's not pressed on scratching beyond the surface of issues that don't concern him personally. It's getting closer, sir. How the hell can it be getting closer? Kaiju. The kaiju just doggy paddling along like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. La 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 la. Yeah, I'll be on that one. I'll definitely be on the Black Panther one. For sure. I don't know if you guys noticed if you watched the most recent video, but we switched studios. So there's been like a lot of changes going on. Pacific Rim is my movie. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's stupendous. It's breathtaking. It's plasma cannon engaged. Angela Yee, ma'am, you look like Boo Boo the Fool. The Breakfast Club is so messy, they barely ask their guests if they're working on any projects. They never know, and they never do their due diligence. Like, they never research. They don't be knowing about people's projects. People try to, like, talk about projects, and they be like, oh, I didn't know you were working on that. Like, you couldn't even fucking look the person up before they came on your show. Like, because they just be wanting to troll and make drama. Shoot it! I remember when I saw this, my mom was like, these machines are so big, they like take so long to like move and operate. She's like, I wouldn't be in one out in the middle of the ocean where I can't get out. Lit it up twice, bagged our 5th kill. Hi. Oh, never saw Pacific Rim either, Clarissa? I saw this shit like 9 times in the theater. Watching it, Def looks great. Don't ever touch me. Grab the boat. They love Yee's get along attitude. Woo! The kaiju slapped him. The kaiju was like, pow, bitch. It literally slapped him. That's my part. I love when Idris said that. I stay replaying that part. Like, I love that they showed that Idris Elba was like the authority figure. And this like white man is like beneath him. Like, whoa, you better back the fuck up off me. Left arm's gone. Because the kaiju are smart. They learn. No more plasma cannon, bitch. Yeah, it's a. I'm gonna say Umi. I see that you see Ebony's point, and I actually agree with Ebony's point. I felt the same way, and I also felt like I don't want to like. Because some people have requested, like, that no spoilers out loud, but I'm just going to say that a lot of, like, what he did while he was on the throne, I think also played into that same vein of, I'm going to get back at you. And I'm going to, like, use your own shit to get back at you, if you get what I'm saying. There was like so much to unpack. A good, the bad, the ugly format review of that movie is gonna really be like 3 hours long. That little Duval episode really irked my nerves. That was just ugly. They're just trash. That's it. Yeah. I'm gonna watch The Incredibles 2, but I have not seen a single trailer. I love The Incredibles. I don't want to have it spoiled, so I'm like ignoring it until the movie comes out. I don't know who you talking about. I love this scene. Woo! I love this movie. Something about this movie. I mean, I love Del Toro. Like, I love Guillermo del Toro. I loved Blade 2. I loved Hellboy 2. I loved Pan's Labyrinth. I love The Orphanage, which he produced, put his little Del Toro spin on. But it's really something about Pacific Rim. I mean, I really love Pan's Labyrinth also. And Blade 2 and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. But, like, something about Pacific Rim. It's really like the first time every time. Yancy! Woo! Fucked up. Yancy dead. And Yancy died while they were like still connected. That's like some Black Mirror shit. Thoughts on John Boyega and Pacific Rim Uprising? I'm not a John Boyega fan. So, I mean, and it's not going to be directed by Del Toro. So, I don't even see why they're making a part 2. Like, I don't, like, Idris Elba's not coming back. Del Toro's not coming back. What? I think Charlie Hunnam's not coming back. Like, what's even the point? I don't understand. Gonna hold off on Maze Runner to watch Pacific Rim. I mean, I love Maze Runner too, but I prefer Pacific Rim. I mean, but they're different. They're different. Idris Elba played that role to perfection. I just wish someone would come on The Breakfast Club and subtly bully the fuck out of Charlamagne during the whole interview. Give that messy nigga a taste of his own medicine. I do too. I do too. Jaeger Falls. And I will watch all 3+ hours of that review. Y'all silly. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you guys are talking about Black Panther in these comments. Yeah, I saw The Shape of Water. I loved it. I'm still eating it. I'm taking my time. I'm eating chicken and waffles. And it is delicious. It's just so good. Actually. I didn't see Coco. I heard it was good, but y'all told me about that Frozen shit at the beginning, and then I just like never caught it. I hope that the little girl that played Mako out here as a child is out here prospering. Oh, I'm glad he wasn't, Brooke. I didn't know that. Those movies are garbage. I'm glad he like stayed away. I saw a lot of people that didn't like that CIA business. A lot of people. Umi, I think that was another jab. I think there were a lot of jabs, to be honest with you. I think the whole wig scene with some shade. Like, there were a lot of jabs and shady ass moments. I felt like there was a lot of stereotyping of Black Americans in that movie, of like the way that we act in our behavior, and we didn't get enough characters to kind of see more well-rounded behavior. If you guys get what I'm saying. They stopped the frozen crap. Hi, Carla. And I was talking to one of my other friends, one of my best friends, that's like also a Black American, like straight up. And she was like, that she felt pretty offended when she like left Black Panther. That she didn't enjoy it at all. She felt offended. She felt like there was a lot of African elitism. And I agreed. I felt the same way. Yeah, Hunnam is not coming back either. I think that wrinkle will come back. But she's going to be like a smaller part. Because the woman lead across from John Boyega is some white chick. Which I'm like, the original Pacific Rim had no white chicks. Why all of a sudden we got this white girl lead? John Boyega loved playing fucking second fiddle to a brunette white bitch. I gotta say. It's a new record. That's my man's favorite position. Second fiddle to some white hoe. Stop the frozen crap because people were complaining. People really are tired of that movie. Watch Coco. It's great. I'm going to catch it. Yeah, he was going to go ahead. But I think he backed out due to the schedule conflict. Because he's on that show, Sons of Anarchy. Which I've never seen. Hi. Step into my office, Marshall. I agree that Black Panther has some stereotypes that made me feel some type of way. Yeah. 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 I'm reading y'all comments about the CIA business, and I'm just like, yeah. Yeah, I see some good points being made here. Oh, did it? I've never seen that one episode of Sons of Anarchy, obviously. Hi, Danye. I can't do that shit again. The world's coming to an end. Where do you want to die, bitch? Here? Or in a Jaeger? Yeah, Idris Elba. It's my movie. The movie really showed how the division between AAs and Africans is in real life. I agree, but you want to know something? I respect that Ryan Coogler went there. Even if he wasn't allowed to maybe explore it as in-depth as he wanted to, because I do kind of get the feeling that Disney was like, had his hands tied behind his back a little bit. The fact that he even introduced some of these ideas about trying to like show like the rift in the diaspora, I do applaud him for that because I've never seen anything like that in a movie before. I will say that that's something that I looked at on screen and was like, I've never seen this addressed in a film before. And people are just like, a lot of those like initial reviews and stuff hopped and skipped over that. Yeah, the director is African American. Ryan Coogler is African American. It kind of rubs me the wrong way how Marvel's acting like they're so woke for doing Black Panther. Like, I'm not impressed. I feel like they really did Black Panther as like a direct response to the criticisms of diversity in their projects. So they made Black Panther. they like threw their weight behind Black Panther because they've been criticized for not being diverse. Like, they have like 9 movies led by white dudes named Chris. Like, we'll see if it continues or if it was just, you know, this one movie to make them a shitload of money, which it is obviously doing. Oh, I took your block. I'm sorry, Clarissa. Sorry. Next one is yours. I didn't know Charlie was not American. No, he's not. He does a good American accent. Only my mother calls me doctor. True. She was out there. Oh, y'all talking about Lupita. Right. Like, T'Challa has some bitch-made fucking tendencies. Like, let's not be in denial. Is that Yan Marashu? Of awesome. Or awful, you know? Depending on how you look at it. He's a kaiju groupie. I studied them. And up close one day. Trust me. You don't wanna. I love that whole exchange. And he's just standing in the back like. I love the writing in this movie. Such sharp, witty. Yeah, we're talking about Black Panther. Yeah, Ryan Coogler has my respect for that. White dude's named Chris. Seriously, it's like a whole joke. It's like a joke. Like, who's your favorite Chris? Like, hi, Richie. Charlie Hunnam does kind of look like Heath Ledger. You know, I have never thought about that, Brooke, but now that you say it, you're right. I can like see it. We're watching Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim. I just hope that Marvel doesn't take that praise of Black Panther and rush to create some Catwoman type shit for a cash grab. Quality is everything, and that's part of why Black Panther did so well. We'll see. Yeah, Ryan Coogler is African American, so like I do respect that he like tried, but I do think there were some missteps, but nobody's perfect. And also Ryan Coogler, and I talked about this a little bit in my video, like Ryan Coogler has gone on the record and given interviews, and Chadwick Boseman, who played T'Challa, who's also African American, both of them have kind of like gone on the record during their like press tour for this movie as talking about how like they are the types of people that like, you know, like want to reconnect to their roots and, you know, feel disconnected and they feel all these types of ways about Africa. And so I definitely think it was like made from that perspective and not necessarily another perspective. Well, obviously it's their perspective, not necessarily another perspective. Thank you, sir. Ava DuVernay was offered Black Panther first, but they didn't want to give her full creative control, so she walked away from the project. Because Ava insists on having, like, full creative control of her projects. But, you know, Marvel, you know that mouse was like, full creative control. We don't do that over here at Disney. We're in control. I mean, Ava would have had, who knows what Ava would have done. they wouldn't let her have full creative control. Kind of like Edgar Wright and Ant-Man. Marvel has like a really specific idea of how they want, you know, their films to look and what they will concede to in terms of plot. Every director that works with them knows this. Like, you're not having full creative control of that film. Yeah, then she got A Wrinkle in Time anyway, so. Which is interesting, though, because A Wrinkle in Time, I believe, is also Disney, but they let her have full creative control with A Wrinkle in Time. But they didn't want to let her have full creative control with Black Panther. She didn't like the direction it was going. Like, as far as I know, like, I don't know. Where's the disconnect? I never got that. You know, they're the types. These are lies. Politics and poetry promises. These are lies. Numbers do not lie. Numbers are as close as we can get to the handwriting of God. So, but yeah. In terms of the disconnect, Ryan Coogler and Chadwick Boseman have talked a lot about, you know, African Americans here in the United States. We had our roots stripped away from us, and so there's a disconnect because we don't even know where we're from in Africa, and you know, they feel like something was taken away, which is totally fair and valid, completely. I don't want to like invalidate anybody's feelings. That's totally valid. But some of us, can't speak for anybody else, but some of us have kind of accepted that and have decided, it's really all about perspective, right? Some of us have accepted that and decided that we are going to like own our roots as being here in America, you know? We're going to stand tall here in this country and acknowledge what our ancestors did here and find our roots and our pride and our culture and everything in that. And the movie was obviously not made from that type of perspective, which is fine. I personally would love to see a movie from that perspective. Like, I love the old superhero movies that are set, like, you know, like Blank Man. People always talk down on Blank Man, but I love that Blank Man is about, like, a super smart black guy in the hood that decides he's going to, like, take matters into his own hands and fight back against crime. How is that not cool? Like, how is that not a cool concept? And it's set in, like, New York or Chicago or something, you know? A tiny piece of its brain. You suggest we drift with the kaiju? You're doing too much. Groupie. Fortune favors the brave, dude. You'd probably kill yourself. Ava and Marvel split over creative differences. She was too extreme for them. The mouse is evil. They quickly put Black Panther in the Avenger Infinity War movie. They love a crossover. Lord, they love a crossover. I hate that interconnected universe shit. I'm a thespian, am I? In my head, I did a whole new storyline for Black Panther. Like, T'Challa should have found his cousin, learned the life of AIDS and the rest of the diaspora, and then became a team to kick whites out of Africa. Proud Mary is a hero on her John Wick shit. Now, that was how I felt. We're watching Pacific Rim. I think Marvel is about appealing to the masses. It is. They found a formula that works. 51 kills. That's why people think their movies are the shit, and that's why I think they're overrated. I love Proud Mary. I liked it a lot, too. I don't feel the need to go back to Africa, so I didn't get Black Panther. Blank man, thanks. We need to support it all. I loved it. It got horrible reviews and like no promotion. You talk about Proud Mary, right? I'll never hear Afro-Latinas trying to reconnect to their African roots because they were lost as much as African Americans who are African descendants who are American just as they're Latin. But this is why I talk about how like people look at Black Americans in this really particular way of like not having roots and not having a home and not having a culture. Because yeah, like chattel slavery was like all through the Americas. So that's like North America, South America, Central America, all through the Caribbean and like the West Indies. Like Rihanna's last name Fenty. There's like so many people in Barbados that have the last name Fenty because there was like a huge plantation that was like owned by the Fenty family, which is why they fucking have that last name, right? Like we have these last names, like we're here, like, you know, and it's no going back. But it's like, oh, if you have a Bayesian flag, and you're talking about like your Bayesian culture and the shit that you eat and this and that, like, oh, that's fine. That's seen as culture. If you have your like Panamanian, oh, that's seen as culture. But America is also seen as like the melting pot and the place where everybody can come and like grab bag at culture, like in general. So I also think that's another reason why people people forget, just like that whole America was made by immigrants rhetoric. People forget we're really not all immigrants. It's like some of us have been here for a while, like, you know. Mako. Time check, 36 minutes and 25 seconds. But I'm about to get some coffee. But I don't want to, should I pause it? Or should I just let it not get interrupted? Oh, you know what? Yeah, I hate this scene with Chuck's asshole son. So I'm going to let it keep playing, but I'm going to get some coffee and be right back. So I'm going to be right back. Pacific Rim. It's the scene where they're eating in the cafeteria. Chuck's bitch ass son is about to be a little bitch. So I'm just going to get my coffee right now. BRB. I'm back. It's the part where he's like talking mad shit about fucking Raleigh, and then he's gonna like, oh, if you get in my way, I'm whatever he's gonna say. But they're gonna get in a fight later on, and Charlie Hunnam gonna whoop that ass. Like a sack of kaiju shit. Raleigh. It's up to the person whether or not they want to reconnect. For real. If you don't want to, then that's your choice. With all due respect, sir, I think I know which one he needs. Candidate trials. You better get some blocks in, Clarissa. I see some people need to get blocked. Oh, I'm about to block them. Sorry, tried to wait. Excuse me? Mako with the polite shade. Excuse me, you bitch ass nigga? Your gambit. Can we change this up a little? You slacking, Clarissa. You slack, and I tried to wait for you too. You slacking. You slacking on your macking. Which I have, Marshall. That's basically what Chris Evans said about Marvel. Marvel knows what the people want and they give it to him. It is what it is. Yeah, that's true. Black American culture is its own culture. Then neither will I. You better whoop your ass. I'm watching Pacific Rim candidate trials to see who's compatible with Raleigh. Mako and Raleigh about to fight with these sticks. One. 2-2. Better watch it. I feel like AA are treated like we are because our culture has been commoditized and everyone feels that they have ownership of us and our creations. I agree with that. And I would extend that to Black people that are not Americans too. And non-Black POC too. She got your ass. She's my partner. It just Elba's so funny because I said so. Latinos and Caribbeans are just as lost as us, but we get the most hate. Us being lost and not having a culture is BS. Black American culture is both valued and devalued at the same time. R.I.P. to the people who haven't watched the movie. We spoiled everything. I agree with that. They feel as though that we BA don't have a direct culture back to Africa, so it's invalid. They did have every different food type on those trays, Brooke. So I never understood how Chuck got away with all that. Exactly why Samuel L. Jackson had a good ass point, but then Daniel got his panties all in a twist. And you know, he just said something else. Daniel Kaluuya. He just said something else the other day. Wednesday or Thursday. Something else about fucking Americans. Not knowing what it's like for Black people outside of America. And not knowing what's going on outside of our own country. And I'd be like, damn, for somebody that fucking doesn't like fucking Americans so much, you damn sure have made a whole career out of playing us though, nigga. Like, Jesus. And I was like reading a forum and a lot of people were like, they feel like that type of thing isn't even fair because number one, America is like a huge fucking country. Like, America is a huge country. People can go different places in America and get every different types of food, meet every different type of person, learn about different types of people from all over the world without having to necessarily go there because people come here. I was like, that's a great point. Other people were like, oh, in the forum that I was reading, they were like, oh, but we don't live in America. And like, even though we have an idea about like American culture, because it's like the dominant culture worldwide, they were like, we don't know what's going on in like the next country over from ours. It's like a nitpicky ass fucking complaint. Especially from people that are here. Like, y'all come here and don't want to learn about us, but want us to learn about y'all. How does that make sense? It's not like I'm in your country talking to you about British people. You're here in my country talking to me. What are you talking about? You really try to kill yourself, Newt. Oh, Carissa, you got somebody. My boss distracted me with text, so I'm slipping on the blocks. Our culture is invalidated, and I feel it's also because our history is very much alive in the present day. I agree with that too. I was talking to somebody that was like, oh, I went to the African American History Museum in DC, and they have like FUBU stuff in there. How does that stuff belong in a museum? Like, that's not history. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean it's not history? Like, they were like, oh, that's not history. Like, that's not culture. Like, just because it's recent history or the recent past doesn't mean it's not history. Like, people have this idea in their minds already of what history is, of what culture is. And we've like internalized, in my opinion, all of this like anti-blackness around Black American culture to the fact that we don't even fuck with our own culture. We don't even consider our own culture to be real or to be historical. Like, it's because the person I was talking to was a Black American. It was like wild as fuck. It was like wild as fuck. It was like a wild ass conversation. You look good. When you try to tell non-Black Americans this, they get so offended. It just was like, I don't think so. It just was the head nigga in charge. The number one export of USA is art. The art that they're selling is us. The number one American export is culture, is Black American culture, is Black cool, quote unquote, is Black pop culture, period. I reject the notion of being lost. I do too. I reject the notion of being lost also. Hip hop is actually a combination of Jamaican dancehall with disco, rapping, fast talking was the American fucking contribution to it. Jamaican dancehall, British turntabling with Black Americans talking over top of it, disco samples sped up, turntabling and stuff like that. It's a misnomer to say that hip hop stems solely from Jamaican dancehall. That is inaccurate. I mean, like, it's true in a sense, but like more so Jamaica, London with the American rapping was how it was born. But y'all don't even want to give Black Americans that. And everybody loved claiming, oh, hip-hop came from Jamaican dancehall. Okay, well, but was it made in Jamaica? No, bitch, it was made here. Thanks. I'm not going to go to Jamaica and fucking talk about, oh, this is mine, that's mine, this is mine, that's mine. I'm not going to go to Britain and be, oh, this is mine, that's mine. But all these people want to come to America and be like, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. That's what I think of that. Why don't you drip with a kaiju? And I've been thinking about that a lot too. Like, niggas want to come over here to America and tell us how to have the furniture arranged in our house. You know? Oh, I'm over here in America, but I want to talk about how Americans need to know more about shit that's going on overseas. Nigga, I don't go to your house and tell you how to arrange the furniture. When I'm in your house, you could tell me what to do. When you sitting in my kitchen, eating off my motherfucking plates, bitch, playing Black Americans, Daniel Kaluuya, you don't get to tell me nothing. That's how I feel. And just like I said in my Black Panther video, I was like, if y'all want us to play the fucking uncouth, disrespectful Black Americans, bitch, we could play that role real easy. Ain't no thing. Do it again. Do you? Hi, Justin. Richie, I'm saying, I was not making that up. I was not making it up. Get Out needs to be quiet. He's canceled. I'm disappointed. I don't like Daniel's ass or that guy from Star Wars. That's John Boyega. We catch the flag for everything. They don't want to associate with us. I feel that Coogler should have touched on Black American ancestry as well. Our ancestors were strong and survived a lot. Our real ancestry, in my opinion, is more powerful than the world of Wakanda. I think some Africans are not taking in consideration that Black American culture is built on surviving. It's a lot of elitist complaints. They be jealous of visibility, I swear. Yeah, they are. They are jealous of our hypervisibility. Like as if, and there's also this like misconception that hypervisibility translates into privilege and power and access, which is not true. We're hypervisible and invisible at the same time because any way that they can get our culture without us, they want to do it. That shit does not translate into anything for us. On a collective level. Individually, it can translate into access and privilege and power if you make it in entertainment and, you know, and stuff like that. But as a collective, that doesn't translate into shit for us. And that's a cop-out because they're jealous of our hypervisibility. But I refuse to feel bad for that hypervisibility too because, like, Black American niggas damn sure motherfucking earned it, bitch. We earned it. We still getting gunned down in the streets. We're hypervisible for that shit too. Like... everybody wants the good, but nobody wants none of the bad that comes with it. Everybody wants to claim everything, but nobody wants to get gunned down in the street and left in fucking Ferguson for 8 hours, right? Funny how that shit works, isn't it? I find it to be real offensive. Oh yeah, I had a lot of issues with fucking Pacific Rim that we could talk about. I'm hypercritical of everything. I hated Wonder Woman. Somebody was like, oh, were you this critical of Wonder Woman? I was like, I hated Wonder Woman. What? Like, I'm hypercritical about everything. And my opinions are just that. They're my opinions, obviously, but I like to at least try and, like, back up what I'm saying. You talking about Yvette Carnell? I like her. The limits of solidarity covers enough. FUBU was groundbreaking. Commercialism is part of our capitalistic culture. Outsiders will never understand. I think that's it too. I feel like Black Americans gotta like look out for ourselves at this point. Because people that are not Black Americans just don't understand. And that could be other Black people that are not American. That could be non-Black people. That could be white people. Like if you're not a Black American, you're just not gonna get it. And that's fine. But you're not gonna tell me about it. Like, no. Our culture is past, present, and future while theirs is stagnant. Well, Pacific Rim takes place in Hong Kong, so... that doesn't really seem like a sensible complaint. I think people only see history as things that happened hundreds of years ago rather than something that is happening. Yeah, something that happens 5 minutes ago is history. Like, Mako's like... everyone wants to take credit by latching onto us and interweaving with us, but it's not done without us. I feel like we as a people are dismissed because our history is taught like a novelty and not as as the main idea throughout our educational career. We are othered in our own story. I agree with that too. Parasitic faux alliances. Yeah. Whoa, you're already up to Ron Perlman? Idol Allen? Is that it? You're way ahead of me. You're way ahead of me. Oh, hi Justin. Yeah, you late, babes. Damn, his eye busted, his nose bleeding, he looks hit. I remember when John and Daniel came for Samuel, that was disrespectful. Must we lump all Africans and Caribbeans into one box of criticizing African Americans? I mean, I personally feel like for me right now at this point, it's Black Americans and non-Black Americans. Sorry if you feel like that's like lumping all together, but I feel like it's Black Americans that get it and it's non-Black Americans that don't get it. Now, if you want to get into that a little deeper, we can, but, and I'm talking about in terms of collectives, not individuals. Because of course there's individuals, there's individual continental Africans that get it, of course. There's individual Caribbeans, West Indians that get it, of course. Just like I say, there's individual white people that get it. But in terms of collectives, those individuals are just a drop in the bucket. Like, they don't, I don't want to say that they don't matter, because everybody matters and it only takes like one person in a lot of ways to stand up. But like in terms of talking about collectives, and somebody just said talking about collectives is racist. Bye, you're not in this class, Block. Get out of here. This is advanced social theory. This is not the beginner course. A lot of that othering is our fault because we stay trying including others in our shit. I agree with that too. Especially because, again, we grow up here in America thinking of America as like a melting pot and thinking in terms of like, I'm Black first. Like, Black Americans really do be, like, we don't think of ourselves as like Americans first for the most part. We think of ourselves as like Black first for the most part. So we see another Black person, we think like, oh, they, you know, they're Black like me. We want to try to include them. They be the ones looking at us like, oh no, like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, or like, yeah, I'm Black, but like, for example, like putting an American flag in a Twitter bio and being like, yeah, American, is not really a thing that we do, right? But that Haitian flag will be in the bio, that Nigerian flag will be in the bio, that Panamanian flag, that Jamaican flag, and they will like go out of their way to like make it known, like, yeah, like this is my country, this is my ethnicity. Like a lot of people don't even see themselves as Black first the way that we do, and so they themselves feel separate from us. We try to be so accepting with everybody, and everybody just want to shit on us all the time. That's why I said, for me personally, I've reached the point of like Black American or not. That's just all it is. Ow, 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 ow! Put the knife in my nose. They both spout the same elitist shit towards AAs. It's not about lumping them into one box, but that's a predominant opinion, for real, for real. The scene was sad. Poor little girl walking around crying when she was like, a goddamn disgrace. Well, you about to get your ass beat. Critiques about Pacific Rim. As much as I love Charlie Hunnam, it is a bit ridiculous that the lead of this movie is a white man. I mean, sorry. They about to fight, and I like this fight scene. Woo! This is one of the best choreographed fight scenes I've ever seen. It's a very simple scene, but it looks so real. It looks like they're really fighting. Uh, like Mako not being the lead in a film that's taking place in East Asia is a bit silly. They tried touching on like the environmental impact of like with the kaiju blue and like, you know, them building these machines and stuff, but they didn't really get into how this was affecting the population of like these cities that they're destroying and shit, you know. They show that the government has built like shelters and underground shelters and shit like that, but that's kind of like skipped over. Like, how is this impacting the people on the ground? Y'all are like blowing shit up and like knocking over buildings. You're probably the fucking complaint about the DC movies, like how many people just died. A lot of people were probably killed in Pacific Rim. By far. Oh, you really getting big and bad and bold and loud with Idris Elba. You don't want your life. This monster reminds me a lot of the creature from Cloverfield. Yeah, I loved Cloverfield too. J.J. Abrams. That little girl is so damn brave. I agree there are ignorant people everywhere. Black folks, no matter which part we come from, have to stop putting each other in boxes with this crap of they say this or feel that. Well, I'm tired of being told as a Black American when I speak up on my opinion that I'm not allowed to speak up, or I'm not allowed to have an opinion, or I'm being divisive, or I'm putting somebody in a box, or just like when you try to talk about colorism and people, oh my God, why are you being divisive? We all Black. Like, yeah, like I always say, we're all Black, but we are having fucking different experiences based on different things. And we should be able to talk about that without being labeled divisive or told we're putting somebody in a box, or can we hashtag not all fucking Africans? How about instead of focusing on those fucking semantics, you actually listen to what people are saying and the critiques that are being made? That's just me. Hi, Zainab. I really love Pacific Rim, but I'm still reading that chat. I can't lie, I'm Nigerian and I'm getting an anti-African sentiment low-key from this. And we get anti-Black American sentiment from non-Black Americans every day in our own country, so what's up? What do you want me to do? Give you a cookie? Hold your hand? That's another thing. Like, Black Americans get shitted on every day, but y'all think y'all special. No, you're not. Oh, I'm getting an anti-African sentiment. You're really hurting my feelings. Y'all sound like white people. Oh, really hurt my feelings when you called me a cracker. I'm not going to listen to any of your other complaints because I'm getting an anti-sentiment from this stream right now. I don't care. Like I said, if y'all want to see an uncouth, disrespectful Black American, I could show you one. Ain't no thing. AP classes over here, advanced. Oh, woo! That's where you fucked up, putting your hands on Idris Elba. He knew. He dropped his hand immediately and didn't even say anything. He knew. He knew he fucked up. He knew he fucked up. Advanced social theory, let's go. Don't you ever touch me again. 2, don't you ever touch me again. Where I've come from. And I'm not about to tell you my whole life story, you bitch. Point. The last man standing. Advanced social theory, let's go. Dismissed. Oh no, Justin, they was trying to arrest you. They was trying to arrest you. They was trying to catch you slipping. I swear Black Americans are the only ones on the planet that be welcoming of everyone and shit on by everyone. I think the country thing for me is that most people would not know where my country is. I've met so many people in college who put their ethnicity before race, expecting that it's supposed to get them further. Bro, we go to a PWI, we're all black. Because the A's aren't welcome in America, you can't blame others for taking pride in their culture and traditions. And y'all can't blame black Americans for wanting to take pride in who we are too, but y'all don't like that because y'all want us to feel all this shame around it. Y'all want us to be lost little children, and it makes people very angry and upset when you are not that and when you don't do that. And when you take pride in yourself as a black American, they automatically assume that you're trying to shit on their culture. They don't want you to be proud of who you are as a black American. Even other black people, they don't want it. They want you, they are perfectly fine and happy with having black Americans at the bottom. Perfectly fine. You can have pride in your culture, but you don't have to shit on us while you're in our house to do it. Exactly. And I could see different, like, I don't go, like, I always think the Nigerian Civil War is this example. I don't tell no Nigerians nothing about the Nigerian Civil War. I definitely would not go to Nigeria, take advantage of some Nigerian opportunities, and then lecture Nigerians about what they need to do to take advantage of opportunities after the Nigerian Civil War. Like, how fucking distasteful and just, like, not sympathetic. Like, I didn't go through that experience. I could read all the books, I can do all the research, but I didn't go through that experience. I don't know how profoundly that affected people. Like, I just don't know. And I would never do that. But you have people that want to come over here and tell us all about ourselves and what we need to do in our culture and how we're fucking up and how we're doing this and how we're doing that, and how when we take pride in ourselves, we're shitting on other people. Like, go home then. Go home since you hate us so much. That's just how I feel. And then I can't even express how I feel because then it's going to be people talking about, oh my God, that feels like anti-African sentiment. Like, you're not even listening to what I'm saying. So why should I even care? It makes no sense to me. No sense. You can have pride in your culture. You don't have to shit on us while you're in our house to do it. No one blames them for taking pride in their culture. But don't forget, in America, you're a black before that culture. I'm a 17-year-old black girl from Germany. Parents are from Togo. I can totally see where you're coming from. That's another thing. If we really focus on black American issues first, I believe we could cultivate a culture where we can include other black and brown cultures. And I feel that way too. I feel like black people have always put other people before ourselves. Like, even going back to like the civil rights movement, right? A huge part of the civil rights movement was fighting for immigrant rights, and like so many immigrant laws that even allowed immigrants to come to this country were a part of the civil rights movement because we wanted immigrants, especially black immigrants, here in this country with us to fight with us. But now you have people that come to this country, they don't even want to be fucking seen with us. They don't even want to be associated with us. They think they better than us. They look down their noses at us. They come here and want to take advantage of black American opportunities, but they don't think of America as home, and they don't think of us as their brothers and sisters. They think of the old, whatever the old country is, as home. They want to take advantage of opportunities and then send the money and the resources and everything else back home or go back home. We don't have that privilege as black Americans, and nobody's looking out for us. Niggas, black Americans really have to start looking out for ourselves because nobody else is going to do it. And that's just how I feel. I don't think Africans should ignore being proud of their country. Tell me, where did I say they should ignore being proud of their country? I said they don't get to tell me about what happens here in fucking America and what I need to do as a black American. You're not going to come to my house and be eating food, eating good off my plates, Daniel Kaluuya, and then tell me how I need to arrange my furniture. If you don't like how the furniture is in my house, if you don't like the plates I have in my house, if you don't like the food you eating in my house, you can go home to your house where you can arrange the furniture however you want. And you can eat whatever you want off whatever kind of plates you want. And I don't understand how it gets conflated that I don't want Africans to be proud of who they are. No, I want the right to be proud of who I am and look out for black Americans. How does that get conflated into I don't want Africans to be who they are? Like, y'all extrapolate hard like white people. Like white people. I love the colors, too, of this movie. The color scheme is amazing. Love Cheryl 76. No one's going to change my mind. My mind is made up. So if you're here trying to change my mind, I have an informed opinion. So You're not going to change my mind. We can have a dialogue, we can have a conversation, but I'm pretty sure I just outlined how I feel very articulately. So what makes you think that you need to change my mind, or that that's something that I'm interested in? I can hear you and hear your point and agree or disagree, but you're not going to change my mind. Anywhere you go to or come from in the world, you are never allowed to forget you're black. The system won't allow it. No, but the system does place black Americans at the bottom. So are we just going to pretend that that doesn't happen? She didn't say that you should not have pride, but when it comes to solidarity, they were not there, instead putting the country up as a distancing tool. Like, I feel like I'm saying what I'm saying very clear. I'm repeating it over and over. They don't understand what I'm saying because they don't want to understand what I'm saying. And that's fine. I know mad first-gen niggas getting aggy as fuck when black folk wear dashikis, head wraps, and coral beads, etc. to Black Panther. Like, bruh, relax. No, they don't want. They want, on the one hand, to be able to tell us that we have no home and no culture so that they can feel superior to us. And then when there's black people out there that do try to, like, quote-unquote reconnect and, like, find that and, like, wear those items, they want to accuse those people of cultural appropriation and using American privilege to steal, and so that they can still feel better than us. They're not on our side. That's how I feel. From studies that I've done, in addition to conversations that I've had, things that I've seen, like, I always recommend Black Like Them by Malcolm Gladwell, and so many of the studies and the statistics that he cites in that paper talk about, like, people don't fuck with black Americans. Like, this is not something that I'm making up. Just like when I talk about colorism and people like to bring up, well, I'm light-skinned and I was teased. That doesn't mean colorism doesn't exist on a systemic level. Like, I'm talking about things that affect collectives, things that happen systemically. And y'all want to talk about your individual experiences and individual dialogues and conversations. We could talk about individuality until, we're blue in the face, but how does that help collectives? It doesn't. And I'm about action for groups. Bell Hooks said that any social theory, any social justice work that doesn't work for the masses really doesn't work, period. If it only works for this many people, if it only works for the talented 10th, Cherno Alpha, we've been hit with some type of acid. We need backup immediately. Somebody got blocked. Somebody got blocked. Block, block, block. Cherno Alpha, we've been hit with some type of acid. Woo! Triple event, bitch. It says hide now instead of block, Justin. I don't know why. Being first gen in the US, I really see the bias against AA people. Like, if you're from somewhere else, that elevates you above regular niggas. That mindset is ingrained in continental and Caribbean blacks. Even in black Americans, the whole concept of foreign. My bitch foreign, my car foreign, this is foreign, that's foreign, this is exotic, that's exotic. Like, that's a whole mentality. But people like to fucking be Ray Charles to the bullshit when you start talking about it. All of a sudden, they don't know what you're talking about. All of a sudden, they don't know what you're talking about because nobody wants to be culpable. And that's fine. Perfectly fine. Woo, they did. Boom, they did. Right? Don't come in our house and shit on us. Go somewhere with that. What's up with this hide shit? I'm trying to... Black folks, being black is only a little part of the identity in Africa. Meanwhile, in America, being black is your first identity. It's kind of complicated. It is complicated. It's very different. Which is also why I'm saying, like, I wouldn't go somewhere else and try to lecture people on how it is there. Because I can understand that it's different. It's a different culture. But people feel like they can come here and lecture us on how it is here. And they don't even really have no understanding of how it is here. And especially how it is for those of us that have grown up here, that our families have grown up here, that we've been here, we've been on plantations, we've been in some of these cities for a long time. You don't know what it's like. And that's fine. Maybe shut your mouth and listen when a black American is talking instead of trying to talk over us and lecture us and tell us about ourselves, is my thing. Listen. Listen. That's it. Everyone wants to use shitting on us to join the club. I've never seen that before. Wow, y'all sound so all lives matter right now. Shut the fuck up. Crazy how you can see hypocrisy and toxicity in non-black people, but not in the diaspora. And that's something that I have come to realize as well. And I've like talked about this in other videos. For example, when I talk about like white people, like this is what white people are doing and this is how white people are fucking up, people love it. They love it. But when I start trying to apply some of those same concepts to internalize anti-blackness, to internalize forms of racism, to colorism, to rifts within the diaspora, people don't like it. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to talk about it. That's why I said, I was like, I don't make videos about colorism anymore because people don't know how to act in the comment section. Like people that can totally understand the concept of like white privilege, but they cannot understand how being lighter skinned, being closer to whiteness, having a looser hair texture and stuff like that can also result in privilege. All of a sudden they don't understand. They don't understand how it works. Like people love talking about white shit all day, but it's like if white people disappeared tomorrow, we would still have a lot of our own issues within the diaspora because of mental colonization and like internalized racism, and people don't want to talk about it. First thing they say when you try to talk about it is they call you divisive. Bitch, I'm divisive. Peak divisive, because I'm tired of talking about white people. I'd rather really start working on some of the issues in our own communities at this point. I had the same critique about the environmental aspect. I also felt some type of way about Charlie Day hiding with a bunch of innocent people. Like, why are POC always in danger? Yeah, like, there was a lot to critique about Pacific Rim, don't get me wrong. Definitely. Definitely. It was not above critique. The gif of it just getting his arm grabbed cracks me up. My stepdad is AA. Do you know my Somali grandparents told my mom it would have been better to get a white man? Like, this shit is real. Why can't we acknowledge it? It could be that simple, but you would rather make it hard. What do AAs think they're being attacked for? Because we are being attacked. Like I said, this is not shit I'm making up. This is not in terms of like my personal opinion. You could literally look up, like, you can look up statistics, studies, numbers, health and wealth and education disparities of Black Americans versus Black immigrants versus white Americans, like versus different types of groups in this country. Black Americans are at the bottom. So how are you going to ask me, why do AAs think they're being attacked? What are you even talking about? Like, y'all choose to believe that we're making it up. You don't want to listen to us. But then when Black Americans then say, fine, we only looking out for other Black Americans, we're only looking out for ourselves like nobody else. We're divisive and we're fucked up. Not with it. I've seen it's all over our communities. I've seen first-gen YouTubers making videos telling Black Americans what they can and cannot wear. Like, Seren has talked about this before, and I listened. When you see the microaggression towards the AA culture, it does exist. Like, I had a friend say that AAs can't speak. I corrected her one time. How do y'all say Black Americans have no culture and shit on them when they want to reconnect? Before my Bosnian history teacher introduced me to Malcolm X, I genuinely didn't know that I was Black. Like, in my household, we were Muslim first, Somali second, and children of immigrants. Right, and I think that's like a real thing. Well, obviously it's a real thing. Like, it's your lived experience. And I think that is fine. Like, what irks me is, again, this is not to you in particular, Idol Aiden. What irks me is you have people that have gone their whole lives never identifying as Black, right? But then when it comes time to get something, now all of a sudden they want to be Black. Or now all of a sudden, you know, they want to play Black Americans in movies and tell us what to do. You haven't even identified as a Black person your whole life. Now you're going to lecture me about what it means to be a Black American? You better get the hell all the way up out of my face. All the way out of my face. Kick his ass! I get that people want AAs to shush about our story because those here want to take claim to our heritage in order to lay claim to our inheritance. Right. You have people that's like, I'm not a Black American, I'm not a Black American, I'm Nigerian, I'm Panamanian, I'm Ghanaian, I'm Jamaican, I'm this, I'm that. But I bet you if they gave out reparations tomorrow, Niggas would be all up in that line talking about Black American gang, descendants of chattel slavery. All those people that's like, I'm not a descendant of enslaved peoples. I was a king and a queen. Like, don't link me up with that slavery shit. I bet you they're going to be right in that line. Talk about, I'm African American. I live here now. Because when it comes time to fucking take advantage of the resources, they take advantage of the resources. When it comes time to listen to Black Americans and build with us, niggas is nowhere to be fucking found. Funny how that works too. I love this fight scene. Them as a collective, Seren said, as a collective, they hate us, and a lot of people think that. Damn, this chat is heated. No, it is. Because I'm tired. I'm tired of the way that people talk to Black Americans about this. I'm over it. And like this movie, I think, especially Black Panther, got a lot of people feeling real big and bold about the way that they talk to Black Americans. Like, oh, let me fucking remind you. Like, Black Americans got that mouth. Let me remind you. I have nothing but respect for African Americans, and I understand where you're coming from. One thing I will say about that when it comes to that whole appropriation thing is that if you're going to be an AA and really care about reconnecting, like you say, then research. I agree with that too. Don't wear some bullshit made in China ass fucking dashiki you bought at the mall. I agree with that. Which is why I don't wear dashikis and stuff like that. High-key feel like continental and Caribbean Blacks appropriate African American culture when convenient, take scholarship opportunities, but want to be different when it's convenient to them. I agree. And I feel like we've been having this dialogue, and like Black Americans, a lot of Black Americans have been saying, this is how I feel. This has been my lived experience. This is what's happened to me. Or like, here are some studies. Here are some things you could read. Let's have a conversation. And people don't want to have the conversation. They just want to gaslight us and act like they don't know, like we don't know what we're talking about, like we're tripping. If I wanted to get gaslit, I'd talk to a white person. Like, if I wanted to get gaslit about this race shit. AAs are all inclusive and it hurts us because it's not a true alliance, it's parasitic. Yeah, I agree with that. Woo, Umi, you got your block. Yeah, of course, look things up and find out the different parts of the culture and what they mean 100%. I agree. Having to come to America in order to survive is not a privilege. Taking advantage of American opportunities that you can send back to your home country is a privilege that not everyone in that home country can do. And that's also not something that Black Americans can do. Like, what? Like, what? What? And studies have also shown that prospective employers, school administration, infrastructure, the gatekeepers of infrastructure, which is why I like to talk about systems and collectives and not individual experiences, the gatekeepers of infrastructure across the board prefer Black immigrants to Black Americans because of the long history of Black Americans as in descendants of American chattel slavery as being seen as lazy, as not wanting to work. Black Americans became lazy as soon as we stopped wanting to work for free. All of a sudden we became lazy versus the idea that Black immigrants want to work. They come here, they want to work hard, you know, they want to take advantage of these opportunities. And you have a lot of Black immigrants that come here and further that narrative. And they use that as a way to like weaponize against Black Americans. Like, oh, I'm not like those Black Americans. Like, yeah, I want to work hard. Like, you know, like in my culture, we work hard, you know. They throw us up under the bus. If you don't feel that way, stand sad or whatever the fuck your name is, that's fine. But I'm not talking out of my asshole. That's I'm just going to leave it at that. Every time Black Americans take pride, it becomes a problem. I have complete love for my Black people all over. I'm partially Afro-Cuban and my Yoruba roots are strong both in Cuba and the UK. It would be great if the respect given to others was reciprocated. I just feel like it's a lack of respect, empathy, and education on both sides. But since BAs are at the bottom of the totem pole, we get the most shit. Everyone is allowed to have pride. If you feel like we're going to disagree on this and you want to agree to disagree because you're a Nigerian, that's fine. I don't think I'm saying anything that's super absurd and ridiculous. So you want to agree to disagree on facts? We can go right ahead. We can agree to disagree on the sky being blue also. Let's agree to disagree. Nope, somebody else got blocked. Everybody want to be black till the lynching start. She also said Black Americans have always invited and included other cultures. The message is pretty clear. Help us out, sis. I'm being very clear. That person like deliberately doesn't want to understand what I'm saying. They don't like what I'm saying, so they're deliberately misunderstanding me, and that's fine. I don't have to continue to engage with anyone that's committed to deliberately misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. This is actually the second time that Daniel Kaluuya has talked about this, and the first time he did talk about Black Americans specifically, and people got in that ass. So this time he tried to make it about not Black Americans specifically, but just Americans that don't know what it's like for Black. Like, we know what you're talking about, Daniel Kaluuya. You already made these statements before. We're not stupid, and you're not slick. Meanwhile, you're even on a press. Why is Daniel Kaluuya on a press circuit right now? Why? Because Get Out, which was a movie written and directed by a Black American, where Daniel Kaluuya plays a Black American, was nominated for all these awards, including Picture of the Year. That's the only reason why you're even talking, Daniel Kaluuya. Your last movie before Black Panther was Get Out. Like, wasn't, or am I thinking of John Boyega that was in Detroit? Was Daniel Kaluuya in Detroit? Or am I thinking just of John Boyega? Like, no. No. And I even want to get into, like Americans do have it. Like, especially Black Americans. Like, oh, you're talking about Americans see themselves as having it worse off when it's hard being Black everywhere. Black Americans are having a hard fucking time, okay? And why is it that when Black Americans want to talk about how we're having a hard time, all these super niggers want to come out of the fucking woodwork talking about, well, it's hard for us in Britain too. Bitch, you sound white. You sound white. Just like when we talk about how fucking Black Americans are suffering in health and wealth and fucking economic disparities, and the white trash want to come out the trailer park, they want to jump out the trash can talking about poor rural white people are having it bad too. Why can't y'all respect what Black Americans feel and are going through? While you're in America making money off American projects. That's not wild? That's not wild? That's not wild? That's not wild? No, it is. It is. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. It's a lot. It's too much. It's too much. Niggas come to America and they want to be centered here in America. I don't understand. You want to come to America and talk about the plight of Black British people here in America. Can we talk about what's going on for your Black American brothers and sisters? No, you want to come here and complain about what we're not doing for you in Britain? Are you on crack? Are you smoking rocks? No. What are you doing for us here in America while you take advantage of these American opportunities, Daniel Kaluuya? What you doing? Nothing. Except talking. Like, fuck out of here. Y'all smoking rocks. Like, I'm gonna just leave it at that. Y'all smoking hella rocks with this shit. Hella rocks. I never know what Idris Elba says during the scene. His British accent is so strong. And I know I'm behind on the chat. I'm trying to catch up, but it is a lot of y'all. Woo! See, now, like, they just landed and they just, like, look at all this shit they just blew up. Like, they probably just killed a lot of people. Like, a lot of people. Oh yeah, I'm way behind. I'm super behind. Somebody got blocked. When I was little, I lived in Central Africa for several years. I was always seen as an outsider. Hi, Kari. I know I'm late. He's in America trying to tell us about our experiences in America. End of the day, black is shit in the colonizer's eyes, regardless of where we are from. As long as we continue to not stick together, they will continue to control us. Okay, but my thing when people say that is, why is it that that comment only gets trotted out when black Americans respond? Like, why does nobody say to Daniel Kaluuya, right? We're just using him as an example. Why does nobody say to Daniel Kaluuya when Daniel Kaluuya has all this shit to say? Why does nobody say to him, like, hey, maybe don't talk about that, especially considering what you've said previously about black Americans might be seen as divisive. Daniel Kaluuya says what he says, and you have all these people that come out the woodwork willing to defend what he says and say that what he says is fine. No one says, oh, you black Brit are being divisive by talking about this. But when we black Americans say how we feel in response to what he said, we're accused of, why don't we want to stick together? Why do we have to stick to people that treat us like shit is my question. People are allowed to treat us like shit. Them treating us like shit is not seen as divisive, but us responding is seen as divisive. If you step on my toe and I say ow, I'm not the problem for saying ow. I don't understand this logic. Who can explain it? If he's talking about America, then said it's hard being black everywhere, then he's obviously comparing AA's experiences to that of others. And I've talked about this before too. You have a lot of people that are not from America that get the white American experience conflated with the black American experience. They feel like we have access to all this government infrastructure and we can take advantage of all this government policy. They think we're taking advantage of welfare. They think we're taking advantage of food stamps and affirmative action. No, the number one people taking advantage of government policies like fucking food stamps and welfare and affirmative action are white people. Black Americans don't even, like, we don't even really get shit from this country. We historically have not gotten shit from this country. We never benefited from imperialism and fucking American policies, you know. Niggas could be drafted to go fight in wars, but then they come back and they were expressly left out of the GI Bill. Like, we never got shit from being Americans. Like, there's really two Americas. There's black America and there's white America. And people get white America conflated with black America. And they talk to us like, oh, this is what y'all are doing. It's like, you don't even know. You actually don't know. So maybe you should shut the fuck up for a sec. Maybe. I don't know. And like, going back to that fucking, the reaction being the problem, it's the same thing with white people. A white person says something racist, you be like, hey, that was racist. They get more mad that you said that they were racist rather than pointing out what was initially said. Come on. Love this combo as first gens in North America. My sister and I are always trying to explain to our parents the amount of pain and suffering that AAs have gone through. Like, this shit runs so deep. Preach, I didn't know we were having church. Like, come on. We don't want to hear the bullshit anymore. We have made up our minds because we've talked this issue into the ground. I agree. There's no other way to look at it. I agree. I agree. Completely. This just legit turned into church. When she said, fuck talking about white people anymore, let's talk about our problems with them. People don't want to talk about our problems. People want to talk about white people all day, but as soon as you say, like, okay, well, like, let's talk about sexism, let's talk about colorism, let's talk about the rift in the diaspora. Oh, that's divisive. I don't want to talk about that shit. Like I said, white people could disappear tomorrow and we still going to have these same problems because people don't want to talk about it. And when you start even trying to talk about it, you get accused of being divisive and problematic and all this other shit. When on an airplane, in case of emergency, place the mask on yourself first, bitch. Thank you. Thanks for recommending Malcolm Gladwell's Black Like Them in one of your other videos. Downloaded it from my school's library. Gonna read it tonight. It's such an amazing read. And I always recommend it. I love Malcolm Gladwell. Like, I read The Tipping Point by Gladwell when I was in high school, and it really changed my life. And then I just like read all of his work. And Malcolm Gladwell is a Jamaican Canadian Black man. He's a social scientist. He's just brilliant. Like, he's brilliant. And Black Like Them kind of combines social theory and statistics and his studies with his personal experience as a Jamaican Canadian that then moved to America, and seeing the way he was treated as a Jamaican Canadian in Canada versus seeing the way that he was treated as a Black immigrant in America versus Black Americans, which got him to kind of thinking about rifts within the diaspora and doing all these studies and just like fucking fascinating, brilliant, fantastic work, and things that we really need to start thinking about and talking about that people don't want to think about or talk about. You better eat you. Racism manifests itself extremely differently here in the UK. We don't have the depraved systemic level of injustices that AAs face. A big problem is people don't understand we hold many titles under our Blackness. Why is the AA perspective not valued or seen as logical? You know that we built all this shit, including the culture you leech off of for monetary, professional, or social gain. Nina Simone hit on this topic a lot. Yes, she did. That's my mom right there, Nina Simone. We're Canadian, my dad's Jamaican, and mom's South African, but what I'm saying is seeing firsthand the pain facing the AA community. I don't understand how people could be so neglectful. The UK is different because the so-called British culture was already formed for thousands of years. Black people have always been there, but the culture was not theirs. Black Americans are American through and through. We built this shit. Black able-bodied folks want to ignore Black non-able-bodied folks. It's wild how we just want to act like our communities are utopias. I mean, like, and not to pathologize the Black community, because I do feel like the vast majority, all of our problems were caused by white people and colonization. Don't motherfucking get me wrong. And replicating what we see our oppressors kind of do. But it is to the point where we have internalized it, and we have to start talking about it within the context of our own communities and not necessarily within the context of, like, white people. But it's like, if you're not talking about white people, people don't want to talk about it. They just want to like ignore it, slap a band-aid on it, and pretend. Thanks for your empathy. I saw it firsthand. My city has the highest number of Nigerians in the US. I know the underbelly stuff that they were doing. And somebody also asked me, did I feel this way? I want to like say this too. Because somebody was like, oh, do I feel this way because I've had like certain types of interactions with like continental Africans when I was growing up and stuff like that. And I was like, no. I really didn't even have, like, I never had any type of, like, childhood interaction or fucking trauma with continental Africans, like how continental Africans are, like, teased in the 5th grade, and they, like, hate Black Americans for the rest of their lives. They, like, have a grudge against us for, like, the next 80 years. I never had anything like that, because when I was growing up in D.C., it was a predominantly Black American city. The majority of the immigrants were like El Salvadorians and stuff like that, and then there was like a large East African population, like Ethiopians and Somalians and Eritreans, and they mostly kept to themselves. So even growing up, I had one non-Black American friend, and she was Guyanese, and her mom was like Guyanese, and she was like born here, and her father was like a BA or whatever. So this is just from like shit that I have observed and even studied as an adult. Like, my opinion isn't even like influenced by any like childhood trauma or anything like that. I feel like a lot of projection gets put on Black Americans from shit that like other people think about us. They accuse us of doing, like, oh, you think you're better than us and you're mad because of how you were treated as a child. I'm like, no, that's how you feel about me. Like, you trying to put that on me. I know what projection is, bitch. I was once told I can't be in a conversation about Libya because I didn't understand at my job. I mean, me personally, I feel like that's fair. Like, for example, for anybody that saw the most recent episode of The Grapevine, it was on slavery in Libya. I didn't want to be on that panel. I felt like that wasn't my place. I felt like it would be more appropriate to have a majority, because there are quite a few Libyans that like speak on The Grapevine and stuff, and I felt like they could speak for themselves. And like, and if other like continental Africans want to like have a conversation about that, they could speak for themselves. I didn't really feel like that was appropriate for me. And like the flip side of that is no Libyan is going to sit on a panel and tell me about being a Black American either. I'm not going to tell you about you. You're not going to sit here and tell me about me. Boy, what you doing, Idris Elba, in that tight ass suit? Let's stop pretending that some African trends are starting to hit mainstream. Our dance moves, our clothes, our music. Because I hear a lot of Afrobeats hitting up the radio. Yes! Yes, definitely. I definitely feel, I say continental African. I don't like saying just like quote unquote African, because I know like Africa is like a huge like continent with like varied cultures. And I've seen some people that are like fine with you saying African or continental African. Some people that are like not fine with it because they feel like it's like lumped all together. If anyone has what they feel like is a better term, like feel free to let me know, because I generally just say continental African because I don't like being like African culture, because like what is like African culture? But like Afrobeats are like fucking huge right now, and like wax prints and shit like that are like fucking huge right now. And I would never claim that like Black Americans invented Afrobeats. Like obviously Black Americans did not invent fucking Afrobeats and like that like grime shit, and like not shit isn't like it sucks, but you know, like that, like that's y'all shit. That's y'all shit. I would never claim it. I would never tell you what you need to do with it. I would never be like, oh my God, this Afrobeats is like so, I'm just gonna make some shit up, so like primitive and like savage, and it's like so violent, and I just like don't understand. But then you have people that come over here and they want to talk about Black American culture that way. They want to talk about hip hop that way. They want to talk to us about our shit in that way. But I'm not gonna talk about you like that. Why you feel like it's okay for you to talk to me about that or like that? You get what I'm saying? Like Jadena's like very into like, and the son of the chief, and like the this and the that. I personally don't like Jadena, because as I've said before, Jadena reminds me of like Mass's favorite illegitimate child that got freed and learned how to read, and then he like comes back to like stunt on the other slaves. I have like a whole like headcanon around Jadena, but I would never be like, Jadena's Afro music is blah, blah, and blah, and blah. But you have whole cultural critics, whole cultural commentators, Trevor Noah, whole cultural critics that are not American that get hired to talk specifically about Black American issues. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Like, what would it look like if they hired me to go fucking do a fucking talk show in South Africa to talk about South African apartheid? I don't know anything about South African apartheid. Just what I saw in The Color of Freedom on Disney Channel. Like, I don't know anything about fucking South African apartheid. I could read some shit about it. I could learn some shit about it. I could watch some movies about it. But, like, what do they look like hiring me to, like, go have a show in South Africa where I talk about that? But it is seen as perfectly fine and appropriate to hire a non-Black American, a South African, to fucking come here and talk about Black American shit. I feel like that's not cool. You know? Are you talking about the super chat, Ebony? It gets sent to me directly. And thank you for you guys that are fucking posting in the super chat. Like, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they, like, have to give me money or anything like that. Nobody should feel that way. You deserve to die because you were an asshole this whole movie. So, bye, bitch. Die. I actually don't think there's too many trolls watching, because generally when we have like a ton of trolls, they can't help but comment. And I see like some people getting blocked, but it looks like it's not that many trolls. I think it's just a lot of people watching and listening to the conversation. The government trolls are in here, 126 people watching. Uh, the chat is lit. Yeah, I see like some people got blocked. I see some persons got blocked, but it looks like not too many. I'm in South Africa. We're also black like A's and have parallel experiences with migrant African elites, but there's a class factor in migration, i.e. must have the means, economic, social, intellectual capital. Also to talk about class and like Britain and like black Brits and even like there's this idea, like getting back to the acting thing, that like black Americans are like not well trained and that all black American actors are like self-taught niggas from the ghetto, like as if they don't have like acting conservatories here in the US, like as if Juilliard doesn't exist, like as if, you know, like there's this misconception that, again, and that's like classism, that's elitism, that's like more internalized ideas about like black Americans like being down at the bottom. Like Paperboy from fucking Atlanta is like a Harvard educated, even though like not to get, y'all know how I feel about like even like grad school and schooling, we could get into that, but like he's like a Harvard educated actor. He's not playing Paperboy because that's his real fucking character. You know what I'm saying? Like there's even this idea that, you know, like, oh, and like, and some of these continental Africans, you know, they like get sent to like the best private schools in Britain and shit like that, and then they like come over here and they get these like engineering degrees. That's also like classism and elitism, and goes back to the internalized anti-blackness idea of black Americans as lazy, as thugs, as being at the bottom of the totem pole, of not being well trained, of not being well read, of not being well traveled. This assumption that all black Americans don't travel and don't get out of the country. All these ideas, people have all these ideas about us, but don't know nothing about us, but then want to come here and talk down to us, while they specifically come here to utilize American opportunities that have been weaponized against black Americans that grow up here because of the aforementioned stereotypes that calls us thugs and lazy, so that black immigrants come over here and are elevated above us. I don't know how else to say it. I said I wasn't going to repeat myself, but I'm repeating myself over and over because y'all are acting like you don't understand what I'm saying. Like, do y'all not, like, am I not, like, do I need to say it in another language? Like, what needs to happen? I'm a black American with Jamaican parents, so I also identify with that culture as well, but often black Americans get accused of being too US-centric and not being aware of black folks worldwide. And my response to that is, this might sound horrible, but like, black Americans got a lot of shit going on here. Why are we expected to be so aware of black folks worldwide that we gotta like put the whole diaspora on our backs and like carry everybody to the promised land? Why are black Americans always the ones expected to do all this emotional labor while nobody has to do anything for us? Even that plays back into this idea of like black Americans got to do all this work, so much work all the time, in the face of being at the bottom. But we have to do all this work for everybody else. How? Don't do it. Like houseway. BAs have always been inclusive. That's bitten us in the ass in the long run. What goals do we have besides value in the AA perspective? Like, do we want to bridge the divide, or are we content for the diaspora to remain separate after all this time? I'm not working on the diaspora right now. I'm working on lifting black Americans out of fucking poverty. That's what I want to do. Figure out ways to rebuild our black American communities before I need to focus on what's going on in my backyard before I start worrying about black people worldwide. If that makes me a bad person, so be it. Like this Monique shit. What I said earlier in the chat, when I was like, you know, I would respect if Monique said black people, black Americans boycott Netflix, and all of us black creators are gonna like try and pull our content and like put our content into like a black owned streaming site. That's like a tangible action that people can do. But you want me to be worried about what's going on in fuck for a black person in Britain when a black American woman here feels like she can't even get compensated properly for her work? But you feel like it's wrong for me to fucking consider what's going on with my own people here in my backyard. Y'all feel like that's wrong. How? How is that wrong? Oh, you're too American centric. How is that wrong? We are always thrown under the bus. Didn't people drag Samuel L. Jackson for his comments on Daniel? Yeah, they did. That's why he tried to like come back this time talking about, oh, I'm not talking about Black Americans specifically. I'm talking about all Americans. Tiwa Savage's song African Waste has about 4 different types of AA music in it: jazz, trap, house, R&B beats, etc. When we did the Diaspora African Americans versus Caribbean panel last year on the Grapevine, I remember like the #1 song in Nigeria at that time was like a rap song called like Nigerian Dab. And I was like, so we're really gonna sit here on this panel and pretend that like Black Americans don't have culture? Okay. That was John in Detroit, right? Yeah. I'm not a Black American, but I do see that they are looked down upon from other Black communities. I'm Jamaican Canadian, and I even hear stereotypes about Black Americans here in Canada. You Jamaican Canadian like Malcolm Gladwell. Many do deny it. Our influence is all throughout Africa. We acknowledge our West African roots being essential to our art, but we did develop our own, and that shit is viral. I respect that, but for me, being on the African side of this issue, it's like Africans are so deluded and hating on AAs, and I'm trying to see how to expose the ignorance. Listen, people will really jump out the trash can, Brooke. You be like, were you in that trash can the whole time? Like, it's a cartoon. What looks like Black American privilege is Black American earned freedom in the belly of the beast outnumbered. That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody want to talk about what Black Americans need to do and should do, and we're too American centric, and we've gone through a lot of shit here in America. Like, a lot. We built America, literally. Soybeans, I just made you a moderator. It blows my mind how people still don't get this. People never want to admit to their privilege. Apparently, people were evacuated before the kaiju attacks, according to Del Toro, so perhaps POC did not die in Pacific Rim. This part is so funny how they like limping, using the sword as like the cane. Seren's blood pressure just threw up a Black Power fist. I'm just saying. And everybody's like, oh yeah, we're learning from the Black Panthers. You know, black people worldwide, right? Globally, right? Oh, we're learning from the Black Panthers, and we're learning from Martin Luther King, and we're learning from Malcolm X, and you know, and we're learning from Kara Walker and John Kerry Marshall, and all these Black American artists and art, and we're using this as like the mods for like our resistance and our protests, and then be like, but you niggas are too America-centric. You need to stop with the Black American shit and do more for us. Like, really? Like, really? Okay. I remember Daniel Kaluuya in his interview re Sam Jackson comments also brought up how he's dark-skinned, so somewhat that erases Sam Jackson's valid points of what would an AA have done with that role. Listen, what Sam Jack said really struck a nerve, because and all he said was, what would an African, and he even said, like, I thought Daniel Kaluuya was great, I thought the movie was great, I do think it's interesting to see all these foreign-born Blacks playing Black Americans, and I do wonder what Black Americans would do with these roles. Perfectly valid, acceptable question. Oh, these foreign Blacks, oh my God, you're trying to say we're not Black, and you're trying to say we don't suffer from racism, and you're so American-centric, and you have no idea what we go through. All the man said was, I wonder what an African-American would do with that role. That's how y'all already feel about us. So y'all hop, skip, and jump to motherfucking conclusions. And a lot of us Black Americans are tired of it. Real tired. Tired. Yeah, I am behind Umi. I'm catching up now. I've made soybeans a moderator too. You know, real training 2000, I'm gonna make you a moderator too. Moderator. Daniel's still on this get over it parade. Seren, stop preaching. What Samuel L. Jackson said was not divisive, in my opinion. I feel like he posed really interesting questions and points, and instead of addressing those questions and points with whatever the rebuttal was going to be, niggas decided to act like what he was saying didn't make any fucking sense. How was it divisive to say, I wonder what an African American would have brought to this role? That's about African Americans. How? What's divisive? What's divisive? Like, y'all just don't like black Americans. That's it. Like, just say you don't like black Americans and go. That's it. Black Americans are actually hurt by a lot of American policies. It's true. They get their ideas about America from television. A lot of black immigrants think that just because black folks are in the U.S., we have the exact same access to opportunity like white folks, when that's not true. Thank you. We live in completely different Americas based on race, sex, gender, ethnicity, religion. So why do people act brand new? I think we as non-AAs need to take the personal out of it and listen. I don't even think, Richie, I don't even think he was pointing, me personally, from what I got from Samuel Jackson's comments, everybody can take obviously what they want from the comments. But what I got from the comments, I don't even feel like he was pointing out necessarily that Daniel wasn't right for the job. Just that what would actual black Americans, that this has been our lived experience here in this country, bring to these roles. And then you had a lot of foreign blacks that assumed, again, they extrapolated, they felt like what he was saying by that was that they don't experience racism. It's like, no one's saying you don't experience racism, but racism is different. It's different based on where you live. It's different based on how you look. Lighter skin, darker skin, man, woman, sexual orientation, like all that shit like plays a part. Like, we're not just all experiencing like racism on a level 10. Like, we're really not. And it's not an issue to talk about it. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be an issue to talk about it. But it is. Oh my God, so many of you did super chat. Oh my God. Thank you so much, everybody. Jesus. He was not shitting on his black experience. It depends on where you are. If you're a BA in Europe, then you will be better received than Africans. But we're not talking about Europe. And that's like, why, like, please don't try to change the subject. We're talking about what goes on here in America. We're talking about foreign-born blacks that come here to America and talk about us here in America. And they make these movies, American movies, where they play black Americans. And then they have all this shit about Americans. We're not talking about what happens in Europe. If we were over in Europe, I really wouldn't give a fuck, because I can't tell a European about their experience. We talk about what goes on here. We're here. That's my fucking issue. Non-American blacks are better received here. Has to do with who the whites colonized or enslaved. Maya Angelou talked about it in one of her books. I feel immigrants are talking about what they go through in America, not their country, because here they're viewed as black, especially those who grow up here or assimilate with us. They're talking about their individual experiences, which, like I said, I can't fucking argue with somebody's lived experience, but your lived experience does not outweigh systemic, institutionalized infrastructure. In my opinion, some people might feel like it does. We can't ignore the classism. Mainly mid to upper class Africans come here. Yes, even some refugees, and flex about their higher worth. Parallel whites in the hood, having whiteness as a buffer. People go out, this is not my experience, people go out of their way to remind us that Africans come over here more educated with culture and better values linked to their colonists, of course. Yeah, like I said, people love to say like, oh, you know, these foreign blacks come over here and they're more trained and they're more cultured and they're more this and they're more that. And all you black American, there was like something that was even said in response to Samuel L. Jackson where somebody was like, all black American actors get their start as like comedians and in like music videos. Turn off the Fox News, foreign blacks. Why can SLJ talk on the Black British experience, but Daniel can't talk about how Americans see Black people outside of America? Samuel Jackson speaking on like interracial dating and shit in Britain. I don't know what, like, I think that was like ridiculous and absurd, but him saying what would a Black American have brought to this role, I think he was well within his rights to say that. And if somebody said, just like when people were saying, oh, they didn't like Will Smith as the dude from Concussion, they felt like it should have been a Nigerian actor. What would a Nigerian actor have brought to this role? I thought that was a perfectly fucking valid complaint. What would a fucking Nigerian have brought to this role rather than Will Smith? I don't know. Thank you, Christopher Flood. I see you. Yeah, there's a lot of East Africans in DC. A lot. A lot. I don't see no plug. I don't see no plug shit. The context was if Daniel would be able to play an African American based on his experience in the UK. It was about his ability to do a job. It was not to devalue his experience. If welfare and social services were used by mostly Black people, would have ended a long time ago. Boy, listen. I've lived in the UK. I've been in Nigeria. I've been all over. In America, what I'm saying is true. Other people are saying it too. I'm also tied to all these cultures that I speak from. Daniel seems to always have something to say about American culture and experience in a negative way. I'm not speaking on if Grimes sucks or doesn't suck. I don't know. I'm just saying. Oh, thank you, Kendrick. Oh, somebody got banned. Thank you, Kari. You know what else? What's something I did love? That fucking Mako and Raleigh did not have a romantic subplot. Whew, that shit was a breath of fresh air. What do you think about Africans who grow up or are raised in our culture? They're African American as well. Okay, I don't consider myself to be an African American. If you guys notice, I don't like saying African American when I talk about myself. I prefer saying Black American. My movie just went off. I prefer saying Black American, and the reason why I prefer saying Black American is because, or I like saying DACS, as in I'm a descendant of American chattel slavery. If you are not a descendant of American chattel slavery, you are not quote unquote African American or Black American like I am. You are not growing up or being raised in the culture the same way that I am, especially if your parents are not American. Like, you're not being raised the same way that I am, like, period. Like, I have a very close friend that's Jamaican. Like, he was born here in the United States. He was raised, obviously, here and, like, considers himself to be, like, African American. But, like, his parents are Jamaicans that migrated here. Like, if your parents are non-American Blacks that migrated here, if your grandparents are non-American Blacks that migrated here, you know, like, you are not, you're being raised, quote unquote, in, like, African American culture just because you live here, but like the culture that you are experiencing at home, the food that you're eating. We've talked about food a lot on this channel, obviously. We've talked about like eating mangoes and growing up eating mangoes and plantains and a lot of that stuff, you know, like the culture that you're experiencing at home, the clothes you're wearing, the language you're probably speaking, the music you're probably listening to is not the same as the way that I was raised as a descendant of American chattel slavery. Descendants of American chattel slavery, I like calling us Black Americans because we are Black and we are American. Like, African American is like a much broader umbrella term for just like quote unquote Africans here in America. Like that's just how I feel about that. So I would not say that they're raised the same way as us, that they experience the same shit as us, or that they're African American the same way as we are. Maybe they're African American again in the sense of like people with African ancestry here in America, but they're not the descendants of American chattel slavery, and they don't have the same culture as us. So no. And I have an issue with African American as a label for that exact reason. Because, like I've said previously in this chat, if reparations came, niggas would be lined up talking about the African American when they were not they were not enslaved in this country. Like, no. First gens like me, I know that culture ain't mine, and I don't pretend like it is. Yeah, no. After watching your Black Panther review, I tried to have a conversation with my parents, and they got hella mad at me, which proved my point. What did they get mad at? What did they get mad at? As a Black American with no lineage to the Caribbean and Africa, I often at times feel they would look down on me and our culture. Right. Like the descendants of American chattel slavery, we don't have no other culture. We're not growing up talking about some, yeah, Jamaica and this and that. It's not the same. It's not the same experience. It's not the same type of shit going on in their households. It's not even the same type of like trauma that's like influencing the culture. Like intergenerational trauma as descendants of American chattel slavery is very real. And people just downplay that, and they think just because they come over here, they understand everything of what it's like to be a fucking Black American descendant of chattel slavery. And they don't. And they never will. Hi, Just Nickel. Immigration isn't cheap, thus the classism that is displayed by Black immigrants is dismissed. That blogger Lovey said she thought everyone had a driver. We're doing an episode on the school to prison pipeline soon for the Grapevine. And like Ashley had said, who I love, you guys know I love Ashley to death, but like she is Nigerian. She was like, you know, there's a lot I don't know about this because my parents came over here and we moved to the suburbs, and I went to like schools and like really good schools in the suburbs. So I don't know about the school to prison pipeline and mass incarceration and the way that like especially like Black American like and quote unquote Hispanic, Latinx, especially inner city urban youth are like funneled. Like they don't know. They don't know. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know. AAs need to separate. We did everything for every global Black that landed in America. We did the work. It's given. I had time today, Kari. I had time today. I had the time. I was watching my movie Pacific Rim. I had the time. Yep. Focus on your backyard. Oh, thank you, Umi. Seren, I don't think we give you enough appreciation regarding how clearly you communicate your thoughts on the fly and your position explained in all this. I'd be tripping all over my own words. I also just want to say that I think about this shit a lot. So most of the time, by the time I start talking about it, my thoughts are like very like clearly formed already in my head. I don't like to talk about shit that I don't have an idea about, that I haven't read about, that I haven't studied. I would rather just like stay back and like watch and like observe and like see the conversations that people are having around it and try and like learn rather than have to open my mouth and fucking talk, you know? Talking about individual experiences is okay when it's BA is talking about Africans. I'm saying this is someone who has had... When have I talked about individual experiences? I'm pretty sure I literally said I didn't even have any individual experiences until I was an adult. And even though I have had individual experiences at this point, for the most part, I'm talking about shit that's been studied in stats and numbers, not shit that I just made up based off individual experiences. Like, are you listening? Or are you just projecting and your mind is already made up? Because if that's the case, then I'm not even going to waste my time talking to you anymore. Let's not forget historically who has always been at the forefront of Black liberation. Even decolonization started because of Africans witnessing the civil rights movement and studying in the U.S. A lot of white people do tell Africans that come here that you are not one of them, that they are thugs and so on. To say, is that supposed to say of? To say AAs do not know of the diaspora is untrue. No, if they don't care due to more dire immediate circumstances, shrugs. That's a rarity, as most modern black Brits of this generation descend from those that came over during the 20th century. They lumping us in with whites, I guess, our fault. Black people seem to be really mad that Monique asked people to boycott Netflix specifically. A lot of people felt like that was self-serving. Don't touch my hair. A lot of people felt like, so are you saying you want us to boycott until you get your money? Like, what is... A lot of people felt like they were not sure, like, what was the end goal? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the end goal? Like, is the end goal of this to shut down Netflix? Is the end goal of this just to raise awareness of, like, black women and especially black women actresses and comedians being devalued? Like, what? A lot of people felt like they weren't sure what was the end goal, and that her telling people to boycott Netflix was, like, disingenuous and self-serving. Black immigrants. Oh, it looks like some people getting blazed. Black Americans are not doing well. Yes, black Americans are at the bottom, though. Nobody said black immigrants are doing well. When have any of it, like, listen, I said black immigrants come here and do better than black Americans, number one. And that there's also a perception of them as more educated, as having some more fucking act right, as better trained. All this that relates to black Americans as being at the bottom, being seen as like poor and thugs and all this. And that when black immigrants come over here, systemically they benefit from infrastructure, because the infrastructure that places black Americans at the bottom due to American chattel slavery prefers the black immigrant. Now, if you heard all that and your comeback is, well, black Americans aren't doing well either. Like I said, you sound like a white person talking about, well, rural white American. Like, you really sound like a white person. Like, what? Well, I hear about how black Americans are doing so bad, but like white rural Americans are also doing bad. And this is why black Americans be like, we don't want to build with y'all. Y'all could just go. 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 Africans really love to jump in and out of AA culture. I speak on the behalf of black people worldwide, but I agree that we do need to free ourselves here first and then liberate our people worldwide. I would never speak out of turn or just to talk. These 20th century British black folk are constantly shutting us down, but they have no problem using our culture and pain for them. BAs are still going through a lot of shit here now. Shit, we built the whole world. Oh, good, got rid of that other Kendrick. My dad was in the military, and he told me about how African men saw us as tainted because we aren't pure. He hit them back with, yeah, you're pure cowards for allowing the slavery to happen. Yeah, you know, we haven't talked about that during this conversation, but I do feel like that's a part of it, too. Like, I'm pretty sure if I did a DNA test, like, that shit would probably come back like, bitch, you are 30% Caucasian. Like, because your average, like, descendant of American chattel slavery is at least 25% white. Like, most of us black Americans, by some of these standards, the way that people be talking about, like, mixing and shit, the vast majority of us black Americans, like, would not even be considered black by a lot of these standards. When black Americans do go outside of the U.S., we are treated differently, just like black Brits or Africans who come here. Yes, and that's why I also say that, like, I would not go, like, that's why I said I'm talking about here. I wouldn't go anywhere else and talk to somebody else about, well, this is how I'm treated versus this is how you're treated. You need to do this, you need to do that. Because you also have a lot of fucking immigrants that do that as well. Well, I was able to come here with $20, and this isn't even just like foreign blacks, like immigrants in general, that will come here and be like, well, I came here with $20 in my pocket, and I fucking became a doctor and started a bakery and did this and did that. And it's like, well, bitch, that's wonderful for you. You did not have the last fucking 500 years in this country that was, like, specifically designed to fucking keep you from having shit or doing shit ever. I'm so happy that the American dream worked for you, that was built on the of a black American descendant of chattel slavery. And that's just the facts. That's just the facts. That's just the facts. We suffered so that everyone could get a piece of the colonial pie, but the same can't be said when it's time to ride for us. It's a divided focus to look out for everyone. People are only shaming AAs because we have to look out for ourselves. Since we've helped everyone, they can't leech on us anymore in America. I agree, schools use the immigrant or second-gen black numbers to show they're doing something about historical inequality. Samuel Jackson did have a great point. There are some experiences and nonverbals that we have as BAs. AAs have not always been inclusive. It was not cool to be African or Haitian till there was a flood of them dominating. What is your point, the heebie-jeebie? Like, why are you here? I'm being dead serious. Like, seriously. I would say that Black Americans are inclusive. We have a different culture. Haitians and Africans, a lot of Haitians and continental Africans don't understand our culture. Y'all take shit that we say and do very personally. For us, we don't take shit personally. We don't give a fuck about nothing. Y'all think that just because y'all were called fucking poor or an African booty scratcher or a spear chucker or dirty or something like that, that means that we didn't fuck with you. But honestly, in my opinion, niggas roasting your ass means that we do fuck with you because that's our culture. If we fucking ignored your ass, that would mean we didn't fucking fuck with you. But it's like you really are trying to like prove that like Black Americans are not at the bottom when I'm telling you like this is not my opinion. I'm telling you like this has been statistically proven in terms of infrastructure. So you're trying to like argue against like the stats? Like what are you trying to argue against exactly? Like that I'm making it up? Like what's your point? What's your purpose? Some want attachment to Black achievements in America but not the struggle. Samuel Jackson made total sense. Kaluuya and Boyega's reactions were unnecessary. Samuel Jackson was right, for real, for real. Y'all are mad when a white person plays Michael Jackson, but not when a non-Black American plays a Black American. I heard different strategies to help AAs in the diaspora by strengthening countries in Africa to protect us in turn. If they have socio-political power, countries can hold sway over our treatment. It's not divisive to point out differences and acknowledge another perspective. They don't hate us, they're envious. Comparing immigrants to people who are already here is unfair. How so? Because for literal generations, AAs have been trying to reconnect to Africa and have always been receptive of Caribbeans. Whenever AAs bring up the fact that African people do have an upper hand, it's like African people have tunnel vision, and I come from an African family and I see the privilege. And it always gets brought up that, oh, they were teased in the 3rd grade, and since they were teased in the 3rd grade, that means that like Black Americans don't like them or something. Whatever. I had a conversation about a first Jamaican friend about our different experiences between BAs and the Caribbean. Yeah, the movie's over. I don't know if that's realistic, just that we are small in numbers outside the continent, and it's just a strategy. Honestly, I don't know. In America, African immigrants do have an upper hand. I remember at a job I had once, this woman, I believe she was from Ghana, was a janitor, and she accused me of one day throwing trash on the floor on purpose. And I'm like, girl, what the fuck? So we got into it, and she goes on about how because she came to this country to clean, I think she's a slave. And I was like, what? My mom literally has the same job she has, and we could talk about slavery. It's like our struggles in history here as Black Americans don't exist. They come here with a chip on their shoulder and preconceived notions about us. For real, for real. AAs have always been inclusive on policies with Blacks. You don't know what you are speaking about. They tried to compare people sending their kids to an unknown country to BAs being systemically disenfranchised. I remember this one girl in high school, she said she wasn't Black but Haitian, that she was darker than me, but senior year, she accepted a Black scholarship for college, called her out, and got silenced. Super chat caught me off guard. I had the block hand ready, but held off because I didn't know what it was. Moz probably can't even block super chat, though. No, I don't think you can block super chat. Because it's just if somebody gives money. When a marginalized person speaks on their issues, someone always feels the need to silence them and say, what about my problems? Because their experiences have been invalidated from jump. And I feel like that's what it is. When they hear Black Americans talking about our problems, it's like, but what about our problems? Like, bitch, I know you got problems. I'm not trying to say you don't have problems. But right now, we talking about my problems. Like, right now, we're talking about my problems. Here, in this country, where we all are. I mean, obviously y'all are not all here, but I'm talking about like when we're having some of these conversations and some of these dialogues, like, bitch, we talking about our problems here in this country where we live and where we are right now. When we go have a conversation in motherfucking the UK, we will fucking have the conversation about your problems. When we go have the conversation in fucking Ghana, we will fucking talk about your problems. When we go have the fucking conversation in Trinidad, that was something I loved about Strolling by Cecile Amike, because she went to other countries and had Black people in those countries talk about their problems in those countries, right? Like, not all this, oh, what about me? 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 Get out of here. I feel like Seren has whole videos dedicated to this topic. I've already done a video on that Sam Jack shit. I did a video on, do Black Americans have their own culture? I've done several videos now on colorism. And every time it's like, the shit goes in one ear and out the other because people don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. I feel powerful as fuck blocking. Who else wants it? Because I'm ready. I know a boy like that. He doesn't acknowledge the fact that he's Black. He thinks being Haitian trumps everything. I've noticed that with some Afro-Latinos and some Afro-Caribbean, some of us don't know the difference between race, culture, ethnicity, and that. And my thing is, again, I don't care. If you want to be Haitian first or Jamaican first or whatever first and have your flag and be like Panamanian and proud and this and that, that's fine. But then when Black Americans say we're Black American and proud and we want to focus on the Black American shit here in America, don't accuse us of being America-centric. I feel like that's wild. Like, it's so intense to me. It's really so intense to me. You're touching on subjects as an immigrant that has nothing to do with the topic. It would seem you're projecting. Oh, somebody got blocked. I see. By Clarissa. I see, I missed whatever she was saying, but I see like a lot of y'all were really trying to talk to her and like reason with her, whoever she was. And it seemed like she wasn't listening. Like I just said, shit goes in one ear and out the other. Like they don't want to listen to us, Black Americans. If non-American Blacks can play Black Americans, then it can happen in the reverse. Nope, sis, you're done. Damn, I should have put. You can still put it, Kendrick. Me too. I love their friendship. I see you, Idol. That heifer was about to get 3-piece. What was she saying? I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm behind. I know I'm so behind. I'm sorry, Umi. You're going to read this a long time from now, but I thought the super chat was people plugging their stuff and asking for money. Now I realize they're supporting you. No, yes. I'm sorry. I know I'm behind. I'm trying. Super chat is when people give money. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm behind. I'm sorry. It really blew my mind, and I just stood there like, slave what? She talked to me like I was a white woman. I mean... Hey, Chadwick Boseman is Afro-American and played an African-born character. But Wakanda is not a real place. Like, let's not. Wakanda's not real. Now, if he was playing someone from an actual real... Like, there is no such thing as, like, a Wakandan that can play a Wakandan in real life. So, that's a false equivalence. Now, if they were talking about a real country and somebody said they wanted somebody from that actual country... like people were saying that when fucking Forrest Whitaker played Idi Amin. People have said that. Like that has been, people were saying that when Don Cheadle was playing the Hotel Rwanda dude. And I feel like those are valid. Like that's valid to be like, hey, why not have a fucking actual Rwandan, someone that actually like has dealt with that in their real life, play it. Let's see what they might bring to this role. And I loved Don Cheadle in that movie. And I loved fucking Forrest Whitaker in Last King of Scotland. I didn't see Concussion, so I don't know how like Will Smith was, but I don't have an issue with people saying that. But foreign Blacks have an issue with Samuel L. Jackson saying the same exact thing in reverse. You see what I'm saying? Exactly, Black American culture ain't mine. tell everyone who didn't like Will Smith playing a Nigerian that right. It's like people had a real issue with like Will Smith playing the Nigerian, and I felt like I saw that point. But then later on, because Get Out came out after that, when Samuel L. Jackson was like, well, how do we feel about this? All of a sudden, he was wrong. People really don't like Black Americans speaking up and having an opinion. You're like, y'all just don't like it. For real, like, I have no claim on reparations because it's not for me. Africans in America have the Black experience, but they do not have our culture. The whens, whats, wheres, whys, and hows. I'm hype about Pacific Rim. Idolate, and I love Pacific Rim. For real, the Black experience ain't monolithic. They got mad at me because I said that African immigrants have a higher upper in America. I also called them out on the fact that they look down upon AAs more than white people. Somebody left a comment on the Black Panther car video that I have up that was like, they were like, oh, I'm African, and I feel like, in my experience, Africans are like more, they were like, oh, I feel like Black Panther was like a good example of how Africans are more welcoming to like white people than they are to like their own people. I was like, y'all trying to get too real in this comment section. For real, I get Ashley, because if I didn't minor in Black studies in college, that other America would still be blind to me. You get a block, you get a block, you get a block, everyone gets a block. Without African Americans' role in the Civil Rights Movement, there would be no Hart-Celler Act, which facilitated a lot of Black immigrants' immigration to the U.S. Right, like, but people are going to be like, well, but I was teased when I was in 3rd grade, so African Americans never did shit for fucking African immigrants. Like, okay, you fucking willfully ignorant ass. Fine, if that's how you want to feel, fine. Obviously, you don't care about facts, so I can't fucking help you. Like, we can agree to disagree about the sky being blue also. My mom did not know about the school system until she met a Black American man who moved us to a white suburb for the better schools. Shout out to all my BAs. Your opinion is valid and you matter. Go and be great like you always do, my loves. Oh, that's so nice, Jasmine. Uh-oh, did somebody else get blocked? Did somebody else get blocked? Here in South Africa, they hire African Americans over South Africans in movies about South Africans, and we level similar claims. Yeah. True, it's that our Blacks are lazy or not talented, so let's take Black migrants. Right, that's why I said earlier in this chat, I was like, the idea of foreign and exotic, like, that's a global idea, right? So, like, of course, outside of America, Black Americans are seen as, like, foreign and exotic. That's why I keep saying I'm talking about here. Like, I'm talking about here in America. I'm talking about people that come here and want to, like, make all these, like, claims about Black Americans here. And then people be like, well, over in Europe. And I'd be like, I'm not talking about over in Europe. I can't tell you about what happens in Europe. But I'm talking about what happens here. And, like, as a Black American, like, this is what happens here. Black immigrants aren't doing well compared to whites, but they're definitely doing better than Black Americans. Bye, Gary. They just need to read. I'm probably late and you're already gone, but sorry. I'm 10 minutes behind the chat. They just need to read the Gladwell essay. It's called Black Like Them, Thorium Gallery. Black Like Them. Malcolm Gladwell. Hi, Davy Jones. I know plenty of Jamaican immigrants who are not doing well, but that doesn't mean they're not doing better than BAs, and the perception of Black immigrants being better isn't present. And I also think that a lot of people really are not, like, really truly aware. A lot of people have really been, like, blinded by, like, the media. Even Black Americans, people are not truly aware of, like, how dire our situation is here. Which is why it's so wild to me when people be like, oh my God, you're so American-centric and, like, you don't care about what's going on outside of, like, America. It's like, do you really know the situation of, like, what's going on here for Black Americans? Like, your average Black American family has, like, an annual income of, like, under $8,000, like, a year. Like, Your average Black American is living off of like less than $8,000 a year. Like your average Black American is living well below the poverty line. Like your average Black American is like barely fucking literate. Like your average, like I saw somebody that was like, oh, Black Americans, you know, you guys get to go to school for free. It's like, let's talk about the state of like the public school system, which is the free system. Like, let's talk about mass incarceration in the school to prison pipeline and how so many of these like schools basically exist as like ways to like funnel Black and brown kids like into the system where they can fucking be free labor for like the prison industrial complex. Like, let's talk about how there's like parts of Black American cities like fucking Washington, D.C., where I grew up, there was like parts of D.C. and to this day, there's parts of D.C. where like the AIDS rate is like higher than some third world countries, where the AIDS rate is higher than some African nations, right? Let's talk about the war on fucking drugs and how drug and gang violence is like literally like a Cold War in our country, right? Maybe it's not a civil war, but like we have our own fucking problems. Like Black Americans are like really not doing okay. Like, and just because you see shit, you know, you like see the Migos on TV and you see people, you know, with this money and these actors in these movies, like y'all assume that we're doing good or that we like have so much. But it's like, no, like your average Black American is living in poverty. Like your average Black American does not actually have access to like clean running water and lights and food. People fucking starving to death. Like for real, for real. Homeless, living on the streets. Homelessness in DC is like such a huge problem because of the gentrification. Y'all don't know, and y'all don't want to hear about it, and y'all don't want to talk about it. And then when we try to talk about like this is how it is, you guys are just so America centric. Like it's offensive. It's offensive. It's offensive. Sorry, not sorry. I appreciate being able to discuss these complex issues with other Black people. I go to a PWI and grew up around mostly white people, so thanks, Seren, for having this platform for us, by us. No problem, babes. The doctor was lying. He had generation of degrees in his home country. He used American Social Services, AA, affirmative action. People lie. In South Africa, a lot of people I spoke to and in South African Twitter understood every word that Monique spoke. Hope you all stand with her. The American dream was built from our living nightmare. My mom says the exact same thing because she came to this country with $7, and I pushed back on her criticism of BA, who are the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. And then people would be like, well, but we're all Black here in America. Like, we're all having the same experience. That's exactly why the Gladwell essay is called Black Like Them, because, like, we're not actually. People don't want to see the truth because they are complicit. Some people who say that BAs are too inclusive and too many people are accepted into the culture and given cosigns by BAs. It's as real as it seems that the American dream is just another complicated, calculated scheme to get us locked up. Tupac, Panther power. I don't think immigrants know how important the dozens, roasting, heating, gunning, treating, etc. is to our culture. Yeah, like that's our culture. And y'all know I love Dr. Joy DeGruy. Dr. Joy DeGruy has a theory that like that's another part of like post-traumatic slave syndrome, like PTSS. It's like another behavior that we developed almost as a survival tactic. Laugh to keep from crying. Like we're all fucking poor, so we all gonna crack jokes on it. Like, oh, nigga, you got your shoes from Payless. And like, nigga, your mama a crackhead. My auntie's a crackhead. You a welfare baby. You a crack baby. Your mama, my mama. Oh, this, and this. Oh, nigga, your mother. Like, oh, your face. I told my mother all the time. My mother be like, oh, this, and this. I'd be like, your face, this, and this. Like, and that's no disrespect. That's just how we talk. That's just how we interact. That's our culture. Like in fucking Roots, there's like a scene after the Revolutionary War where the white people are like, we're free, we have our freedom. And the slaves are like, white people finally got their freedom. Isn't it wonderful? Like joking around because like the situation be so ridiculous that we just have to laugh to keep from crying. That's our culture. That's our Black American descendant of American chattel slavery culture. That's not your culture, so you're not going to understand that. And I know in other cultures, especially foreign cultures, and especially in certain, Black cultures, again, like globally, that type of thing is really seen as disrespectful. But again, you come here in America and you want us to change our culture to fit you and to fit what you're comfortable with. You're not comfortable with roasting, so instead of getting to know us and our culture and maybe trying to understand where it came from, you call us fucking mean and rude and nasty and disrespectful and say how we talk so bad about you, and you hate us because we're not rearranging our furniture in our house to accommodate you. Fuck out of here. Fuck you. That's my response. And that's my response to every single person that brings up that fucking teasing, roasting shit at this point. Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, fuck you, you fucking African booty scratcher. I said it again. What we gonna do? We gonna fight about it? I don't care. When people argue with the research and data, no sense in continuing the convo. They're not intellectually capable of understanding. Black Americans can claim black people worldwide, but black people worldwide don't want to claim us. Just like Killmonger and Wakanda, and bam, the convo just came full circle. Exactly, Killmonger's father was a native Wakandan, and they still called him an outsider. Oh, Stan Stag got deleted. Well, that person was leaving a whole bunch of like comments in the Black Panther video too. And I hate blocking black people. Like, I want everybody to be able to get their opinions off, but like some of these people, they don't want to listen. You could talk about his mother being BA, how she wasn't even talked about. Right, the girl that he killed, we're left to assume was BA. She didn't even have a name, nothing. Like, if you use this infrastructure without reflecting about it and trying to help BAs along, then yeah, you're contributing. Yeah. You are 100% right. I didn't get it. West Indian people do it, but just in a different way. Getting roasted, I understand now, it's all love. Yeah, like, I feel like the Grapevine is like a prime example. Like me, let's say like me, Mouse, and like Amir, who be on there sometimes. We're all Black Americans, right? Mouse got like dreads. Amir has like a shortcut. He always wears a bucket hat, right? That's why I'd be like, you bitch ass nigga, Mouse. You think you a fucking Rasta with them dreads. You not no fucking Rasta, nigga. Amir with your fucked up ass hairline. Like, Amir, if you ever see this, like, I don't think your hairline's fucked up. But like, Amir with your fucked up ass hairline. That's why you always fucking wearing them hats. And they might be like, Seren with your dusty ass braids. I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, you called my braids dusty. That was like so mean, and you're being like so disrespectful of me and my culture, and I'm just like so traumatized. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Now, when I go to your fucking house and sit at your kitchen table and you tell me that's not the way we act here, I won't do it. But when you here at my house, you get with the rules here at my house, or you can get the fuck out. You can leave. Especially the fact that Daniel was on a panel talking about Get Out. He had the nerve to bring up the experiences of blacks outside the U.S. Like, how you gonna All Lives Matter your own movie? Right! Like, what are we even talking about? What are we even talking about? What are we even talking about? Come on now. My mom got hella mad because I said that when she came here, she did hair, and the money that she earned came from the wallets of African-American women, so she has no right to critique them or call them angry. Oh, you was trying to fight, Shonda. You was trying to fight your mom. You was trying to throw them hands with your mom. You was trying to square up. Clarissa blocks it all. We watch Pacific Rim, Crazy Random Girl, even though I see they told you, but yeah. Oh, yeah, that was some bullshit, Ebony. She was saying some bullshit like BAs do better than CAs. Like I said, arguing with the facts. If you want to argue with facts, like we're talking about like infrastructure and like systemic collectives and stuff, y'all want to argue, like I'm not going to argue with you about that. I don't know. Maybe somebody else was wondering while watching Black Panther where Wakanda is on the continent. I think it's somewhere in West Africa, and I just kept wondering if they sat and watched slavery go down. What do you guys think? Or for those of you that read the comics, I don't read the Black Panther comics, but I know that the new run that's being written by what's his name, they give like more backstory on Wakanda. So if any of you guys know, the real descendants of slaves in the movie were Killmonger and the children playing basketball. Oh no, Wakanda is in East Africa in the story. Up Kendrick's Instagram at I Draw on Paper. Not just reparations, but affirmative action too. It was not designed for non-descendants of slaves. Right. Like somebody said, now I can't even remember who it was, but somebody was like, oh, aren't black people that come to this country, aren't they African Americans just like us? It's like they get to claim that they're African Americans and try to like again, like, take advantage of shit that was, like, quote unquote put in place for Black Americans, even though the majority of this government infrastructure doesn't even benefit. Like, that shit benefits everyone except Black Americans. But it's this misconception that we the ones benefiting from it. Being a Black American, let me tell y'all, being a Black American is really like living in the fucking Twilight Zone. People will look you in your face and be like, well, Black Americans get to go to college for free. And Black Americans are on welfare getting all this money. And Black Americans are on food stamps getting all this money and benefiting from affirmative action. And you'd be like, Black Americans are not getting shit. We're not getting shit. And that's not just my opinion. Like, you can type into Google and, like, look at studies and statistics and facts, and it will say right there, the number one benefactory of affirmative action is white women. The number one fucking benefactory of, like, welfare and government assistance and food stamps are white families, especially white women, single moms. But people will look you in your face and be like, Black Americans are doing so good and getting this and that. And you'd be like, where am I living? Am I living in the bizarro world? Like, bitch, am I living in the upside down? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. That's just wild. That's just wild. And it's all people that will look you in your face and tell you that. Like, the propaganda against Black Americans, fantastic. Black Panther made, bye, Zainab. Black Panther made 700 million plus worldwide thus far. Oh yeah, that's just breaking records. Records. Keep making, we already addressed that. You said, what about for Black kids with African parents that were born in the States and grew up on the Black American experience? We already addressed that. If you have African parents, if you have any type of, like, connection back to, like, your Africa home countries or Caribbean, West Indian, you're not having the same experience as descendants of American chattel slavery, point blank period. You're not having the same experience as us. Damn, that's a good point. Agent Ross was welcomed with open arms when Killmonger came in with a dead claw. He was put in chains. That's me. Black American culture still ain't mine. This is what happens when white people manipulate narratives. They create all these false dichotomies that distort reality. Yes, it's true. We were hella overdue for a long Beast Vic. I know. You guys love that fucking 5-hour one, too. Y'all really learned, because y'all have been having these chats moving the last few times. And you guys know that I like to try to catch up. How far behind am I now? Ooh, I'm 20 minutes behind. God, how am I 20 minutes behind? A lot of Africans need to stop believing everything they hear. Yeah. She already stated that it's still different because those children will have a different upbringing in the home. Yeah. The descendants of slaves and the children of Africans born in this country are not the same. The lineage is different and you don't share our justice claim. Right. Like, you just don't understand. Like, at your house, you're eating mangoes and plantains and y'all off rice, and that's great. That's your culture. In my house, we wasn't eating that. Y'all listening to certain types of music. Again, you're wearing certain types of clothes. Like, you're having a certain type of cultural experience that actual descendants of American chattel slavery don't have. It's not the same. That's why I also said I don't care for African American as this umbrella term for all peoples of African descent in America, because descendants of American chattel slavery are different. And we do the most work and we get the least out of it. And then you have everybody trying to crowd up under the African American umbrella with us to take advantage of opportunities that we can't even fucking get as Black Americans. It blows my mind. Wakanda isn't real, so I didn't really care. I love Malcolm. I remember when he was on The Breakfast Club. I've heard of The Color of Law, but I have not read it, Davy Jones. We are so desensitized to the Black American experience in America. Everybody thinks it could just be, like, replicated and understood by, like, watching TV. But then want to tell us we too American-centric and we don't know shit about what's going on outside of this country. Y'all don't even know shit about us and what's going on with us. I have a passport. Owen. That's another thing. Like, for example, people will be like, oh my God, Black Americans are so America-centric. They're not well-traveled. They don't know shit about what goes on outside of America. It's like niggas, well, number one, niggas are fucking poor. A lot of Black Americans are very poor and like don't have the money, $500, $600, $700 for a passport, don't have $1,000 for a fucking ticket to fucking Africa. Like, trying to fucking keep lights on, trying to fucking keep their kids alive, trying to keep their kids off drugs, trying to keep their kids off these streets. Shit that people don't understand at all of what we're going through. Like, bitch, maybe we are America-centric. Because shit is wild here in America, okay? Like, it's a lot of shit going on. Like, niggas is just trying to survive. And Black Americans are fucking survivors. Like, and y'all want to lecture us about what exactly? Come on. And then when you do travel, because I do have a passport and I have traveled extensively, you get shitted on for that too. Oh, you traveled, but you still didn't get the full experience because you're an American. You have a blue passport that gives you privilege. It's like niggas can't win for losing. Y'all just hate us. That's it. That's really like, that's it. DC is the down low utopia. You are absolutely right. Yep. I used to have a friend that worked in like the AIDS center at Howard, and she was like, these dudes on the down low, and these AIDS rates are astronomical. Like, it's an epidemic. It's an epidemic. Rich and middle class Black Americans are taking care of all their relatives. I did it in college. Things are so terrible financially for our community. I think a lot of people really don't know how bad things really are for Black Americans. And it's scary, and it is like scary once you start like reading the studies and like looking at the numbers and like looking at the stats and like looking at the joblessness and like looking at the annual incomes and like Black Americans are trying to bail water out of this ship, and y'all talking about why are we not looking over the pond? Bitch, we got a hole in our boat, bitch. Our boat is sinking. We hit the iceberg. Why are you asking me about what's going on the other side of the pond, bitch? I'm trying to keep this boat afloat, my nigga. Like, is that not cruel and malicious a little bit? Is it not? Is it not? Seren, you more patient than me because whenever people in general say ignorant shit, I just look at them and say Google is free. People love to act like this information is locked somewhere. You're right. That's why I have a whole t-shirt called Your Google Ain't Broke. But since we're talking about it, like, let's talk about it. Black celebrity blinds people, even AAs, of how poor AAs are. Yes. I agree. Anyone that's not AA needs to simmer down and just listen because we really don't know their experiences. It might be hard to hear because Seren be eating people alive. Anyway, I hear her. I'm just saying. And at a certain point, it does feel like, again, like, this is the way that we have to talk to get people to fucking hear us. Like, I gotta yell to get niggas to hear me. Other Blacks crack on each other. It's just that deep down inside, they think that American Western culture is superior, so they have no comebacks. I mean, and like, even the comebacks that they have, like, don't hurt my feelings. Like I said, like, I call you an African booty scratcher. You call me a fucking crack baby. My aunt was a crackhead. Like, I could laugh that shit off, but they can't laugh off. They can't laugh it off. I feel like I'm in church. Fans fan. OMG, she said it. I said it. There. I said it. It's so embarrassing when Africans say that, like, let that hurt go. Like, build a bridge and get over it, my nigga. Sorry. Like I said, my aunt was a crackhead. Like, a crackhead. Like, she's dead. Like, I can joke about that. I know that's not probably something that like for example, I know like Nigerians take like the whole family and like the shit like very seriously. They probably could not joke about a dead relative. I get that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I have a friend that died. She got shot because DC was like very violent. Me and my mom were talking about it. I was like, and my mom was like, she was running around in them streets. Like, that's the way we talk. I don't know. Niggas get roasted every day, B. Niggas get roasted every day. Bye, Vita Love. Oh, you're still listening, but you'll chat later? All right. Me and my mom roast each other all the time. Me and my mom roast each other all the time. My mom and my stepfather roast each other so bad that they sometimes be making me uncomfortable. That's how, like, bad the fucking roasting gets. Like, nigger this, nigger that, house nigger, field nigger, darky, all type of shit. Okay? That's just how we fucking talk. The name of the Gladwell essay is Black Like Them. I'm not the dozens playing type, but I know now not to take it personally. Yeah, or if you're not the type, you could also say to me, like, hey, I'm not the type, like, I don't joke around like that. Fine. I won't joke around with you like that. You don't have to take it so personally and, like, hate me for the rest of your life and, like, have this chip on your shoulder. I feel like that's, like, really intense. And again, getting back to what I was saying before, Mouse could call my braids dusty. I could call Mouse's dreads dusty. I could call somebody's hairline fucked up. But we can't say, oh, you had something about your head wrap to like somebody. Because then they'd be like, oh, you're talking about our African culture and blah, blah, blah. Like, everybody could get talked about except y'all. Like, y'all think y'all better. Y'all not better than these roasts. Y'all not better than these roasts. My family roasts each other all the time. Exactly, my house, my rules. I had to learn not to laugh too hard because as soon as I hear, boy, I know you ain't laughing. Exactly, like, boy, I know you not laughing with your big ass head. Why did my big head have to get brought into this? My mother used to braid my hair when I was in high school. It used to be 2 hours of head jokes of how my forehead is small because I have like a really small forehead. Like, when I have braids, my hair is like pulled back, but like my forehead is like, look, my eyebrows almost go into my hairline. My own mother, it used to be 3 hours of forehead jokes, 3 head jokes, 2 head jokes. Why your forehead's so small? You know, like, I have a cousin that's like very, very light. We teased that boy for about 10 years. We used to tease him to the point of crying. Like, you're not part of the family. We adopted you. You really white. We used to bathe you in milk as a baby. We bleached you. All kind of fucked up shit. He was all right. That's part of how we bond. Now, we've also talked in videos previously about bonding through trauma and roasts, which is a different topic that we could talk about, right? But I'm not going to talk about that with some non-Black American that's looking down on me for my culture. That's something Black American, descendants of American chattel slavery can talk about amongst ourselves. See what I'm saying? We've went through chattel, convict leasing, the black codes, mass incarceration, medical apartheid, war on drugs, Jim Crow. We've been through so much in this country. And if your parents just came here from Nigeria in 1985, you don't know what I've been through. And your culture is not my culture, period. My family roasts each other all the time. Yeah, Davey, you missed Pacific Rim. I'm sorry. AA support African and Caribbean businesses all the time. Right. When I buy from a Black-owned business, I don't really, care about, is it African, is it Caribbean, whatever. But I do remember when we were talking about Shea Moisture, when I was like, I can't in good conscience support Shea Moisture anymore. This was even before they sold to Unilever. And one of the girls on the Grapevine panel, she was like, well, I'm Libyan and the guy's Libyan, so I feel like I have to support, right? She put them being Libyan first. And I feel like that's fine. And but I said to her, I was like, well, I'm not Libyan, so I don't have that same, feeling. And you don't want to support the mother continent? Here's somebody that came here and made a fucking killing here in America, in Brooklyn, off the back of Black Americans, Black American women, promptly decided he didn't want our money anymore. You want to keep supporting him because y'all are both Libyan. But if I say that I want to talk about this Black American shit, I'm called America-centric. I'm in the Twilight Zone. He is 15 million Maris, dude. He's always going to be 15 million Maris, dude, to me. We roast expecting to get roasted back because we're all family across the diaspora, so we could talk about each other. But let a white person down you for being African, I'm ready to throw these hands. Right. Now, a white person not about to call you a fucking African booty scratcher or a spear chucker or something like that. No. I'm not okay with that. But then you have foreign-born Blacks that are perfectly fine with a white person calling a Black American lazy or a thug. They'd be sitting there nodding right along. And you see how that fucking works? You see how that works. Wakanda is near Uganda and the Congo. So some people said some people are saying West Africa. Okay. Right, Ta-Nehisi Coates, right. I couldn't think of his name, but I was like, what the fuck is his name? It's like not coming to me. Well, someone said Congo is in Central Africa. Okay, so I see some people saying the Congo is in West Africa, some people saying it's in Central Africa, some people saying Wakanda is in East Africa. So, do we really not know, or what's up? Hi, Melanation. Don't forget the GI Bill, redlining, the Contra affair, the crack epidemic, COINTELPRO. Exactly. Or shit that, like, okay, like, for example, the wet foot, dry foot policy, right? Wet foot, dry foot policy, which was American legislature that went into effect allowing Cubans that came here fleeing Cuba because we were like so against like America is like so against communism, right? So that Cubans fleeing Cuba, fleeing the communist regime, could come here and stay here, and it was very easy for them to get American citizenship, right? So now you have Cubans, and especially a lot of white Cubans, that run the shit out of Miami, right? Like they run everything in Miami. They have like all the positions, like they have so much money, so much power, everything. But then you have Haitians that were trying to come here at the exact same time, and they were getting sent back, right? Because it's like, no, you can't take advantage of this infrastructure, right? Like, that type of thing matters. So now you have Cubans that were immigrants, but are anti-immigrant policy because it was so easy for them to come here and take advantage, right? You have that same type of dichotomy in a lot of ways that plays out within the diaspora of people that don't understand that Black Americans didn't get the same opportunities. Like, again, you have Cubans that don't understand their anti-immigrant policy, because, I mean, a lot of them are also racist, like, let's just be motherfucking clear, but, you know, like, they don't understand, you guys came here and it was easier for you for a reason, right? Not just because you had other immigrants that were trying to come here at the exact same time as you that couldn't get in. So, like, understand your place. A lot of foreign Blacks don't understand their place here, and like why they're here, and like why they were able to build, and like what they were able to get and do versus those of us that have been here, and the situations and the way that we were shut out of fucking everything. I wish I got food stamps and welfare. Black people be getting $16 funky ass dollars for food stamps, but at my job I see white people using food stamps for having all this designer shit. I tried to apply for food stamps when I was living in New York, and I did not get approved. And I'm pretty sure the lady was racist, and she was an East Asian. I was so poor. So poor. Like, I know what it's like to be really fucking poor, bro. Like, poor. Which is also why I hate respectability politics and like classism so much. Because, like, a lot of y'all don't know what it's like to, like, fucking be poor as fuck here in the United States. Like, I was working for Bank of America. I was making, like, $1,100 a month, which is nothing, in New York. I really don't know how I didn't, like, starve to death, to be honest with you. I mean, we was just eating, like, McDonald's every day, like, dollar menu, because that was all we could afford, you know? Like, I had a room. My room was like $600 a month for my room. So I was living off basically $500 a month, which included my Metro card to get to work, my work clothes, my food, like everything. Like, niggas is poor as hell. And when I applied for food stamps, the lady said no. She said I didn't qualify for food stamps because even though I was like living below the poverty line, I didn't have any kids. And I had a college degree, so what was stopping me from getting a better job? And since I don't have any kids, my expenses aren't that high, so I don't qualify for food stamps. I was like, bitch, it's no jobs. Like, what are we talking? We're talking about hypothetical situations of why don't I get a better job? If I could get a fucking better job, like, trust me, I would. But, like, I'm poor. I need the food stamps now. Never got them. For real, though, if Black people descended from race-based chattel slavery in the U.S., we're supposed to get all this money. Point to me where I need to fill out an application for my check. Yeah, it's like wellness. Crack epidemic. You silly, Kendrick. I love my potato greens, but I'm a proud AA. When we talked about the whole food thing, we've also talked about how that's like regional. Because if you're like a descendant of American chattel slavery that lives in like California or Florida or certain places, like you probably did also grow up eating like mangoes and avocados and shit like that. But a lot of the times, or if you grew up like in a neighborhood that did have a huge like Caribbean, West Indian, or continental African influence, then you probably had it. But if you didn't, like me, then you didn't. Plot twist. What if Ryan Coogler has the same opinion about the plot that we do and actually doesn't agree with it either? I would like to believe that instead of him being in favor of CA elitism. I think he's just one of those people that wants to reconnect. So I felt like the movie was from that perspective, was heavily from that perspective. Like in Solange's album, I didn't understand what FUBU was until you explained it. There are certain things I will never grasp about AA culture, even though I was born here. Yes, and I saw a lot of children of immigrants, you know, like first generation and also like continental Africans and foreign blacks that live here now that didn't, you know, they love Solange album and they're like, yeah, and this is like black excellence and like black magic. And, you know, they're like claiming it, which okay, but they didn't understand a lot of the references. Because Solange and Beyonce are descendants of American chattel slavery, you know, and like the whole Creole thing. And like, that's a culture that you're not a part of. You could be black in this country, but that doesn't automatically make you a part of that culture. And it's going to be referenced. I knew people that were like, who is this guy talking? Like, bitch, that's Master P. Like, you better recognize, like, you know, that's our culture. We are American-centric because where else are we welcomed? We're shamed for not knowing our history. And another thing, we're American-centric because we're trying to move one safe state to the next. Night, real Trini. Bye. Good luck on your test. I'm late, so you're probably already gone. The average wealth of a black descendant of slaves household is $1,700. And the average wealth of a white household is $140,000. We're on the brink of collapse. It's very serious. It's very serious. But like I said, people have these like misconceptions about America and America as a superpower. And again, they conflate white America with black America. Like white Americans are doing all right for the most part. We are not. Like we are not. We are not. Even a white fucking trailer trash opioid addict with a high school diploma and no college degree has a better chance of getting hired for a job than a clean black American descendant of American chattel slavery with a college degree. Like, you can look that up. Like, that's a fucking statistical fact. So don't look me in my face and tell me how black Americans need to take advantage of all this white American infrastructure. That's not how it works. Sell that shirt. We have a hole in our boat. I'm just saying. Isn't it wild, though? You in a boat that's sinking. And somebody is complaining about why you're not looking over the pond at them. My boat is sinking. Like, we're going down. We're going down. Help us. Help us. Help us so we can help you. But people don't want to do that. Don't nobody want to help us. We got to help ourselves. Black Americans really have to start helping ourselves. Oh, Monica, I see you. Whoa, it's Monica. I see you. We are hella ignorant on the AA struggle for sure. The median net worth of AAs in Boston is $8. Doesn't the dollar circulate in black American households for a grand total of 28 minutes or something? It's bad over here. Oh, I thought it was less than that. I thought it was only like 7 minutes or something. Like, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like, if Black America was a corporation, we'd be failing. I'm not BA, I'm Afro-German, but I watched the Grapevine episode on AAs and Africans, and when they said they don't mind that they get the most out of affirmative action above BAs, how can you not find that weird? Like I said, it's a lot of people that have already bought into this idea, this propaganda that Black Americans already like have so much, and that when we talk about what's really going on, that's us hating sour grapes or something. I had to speak to a white class about my experience coming from a disenfranchised city, and an older white lady asked me, did I experience hunger and my parents being crackheads? Yep. I am nearsighted, so I can't see distance. I have them on right now because I have the iPad kind of far back, and these comments are very small. Normally, I have the iPad closer because I normally have it plugged in, but I've been remembering to charge it before the stream. So I've had the iPad further back because last week I had my glasses on also. It's better when I have it further back, but it makes it just a little bit harder to see. I grew up in the projects, crackheads everywhere. The first U.S. affirmative action was the GI Bill. After World War II, they gave out tons and tons of low-interest loans and money for school tuition to soldiers unless you were black or brown. Exactly. But people will be like, oh, you live in America, you could benefit from all this American infrastructure and government policy. It's like y'all obviously have no knowledge of the fact that literal American infrastructure and government policy was built on the backs of excluding black Americans. Like, love, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and like freedom and all that shit was literally built on the backs of enslaved black Americans. Like, all that shit was designed to leave us out. But now there's this like misconception that we're like benefiting from it. And so since we're benefiting from it, why can't we put the diaspora on our backs and carry them to the promised land? It's like, niggas, we can't even get to the promised land. Like, what are y'all talking about? The fucking Homestead Act, like I read like over 2 million white Americans can like trace money and wealth to the Homestead Act, which was an act that was introduced when they were like expanding out west. They wanted people to like move out west as they fucking kicked Mexicans, indigenous tribes off their own fucking lands. So they fucking introduced the Homestead Act where they were giving money and land away to white Americans specifically, right? You learn about this shit in school, but they don't tell you in school that black Americans were left out of it. So people have this idea that like, yeah, like everything was so great and wonderful and like everybody was taking advantage of all this shit, but like black Americans were like left out. And to this day, we're like still seeing the impact of that, even as foreign blacks and non-black POCs and whites come over here and benefit from all this infrastructure that was built on our backs and don't want to hear about us talk about it. I'm not with it. That equity has turned into billions of dollars. Leached off AA opportunities and separated themselves from us. I'm not above the roast. Definitely the Homestead Act. Right. Hi, whoa, it's Monica. I see you. I got a small forehead too. SMH, like for real. Those forehead jokes, I cannot. Yo, my mother be cracking mad jokes on my forehead. Mad jokes on my forehead. My forehead is small. My forehead's small. It is. Like, really, like, when I raise my eyebrows, especially when I don't have braids, because, you know, braids kind of, like, pull your hairline back. When I raise my eyebrows, my forehead disappears. It's just face. It's just all face. I'm all face. That's it. I would tell my little brother we bought him from Walmart, and we would take his ass back if he kept acting up. Baby and milk. Yeah, that's what we used to tell my cousin all the time. Devin. Baby Devin. We used to be like, you're white. You're not even a part of this family. Bonding through roasting. We have been shitted on forever and we have still survived. I get in my feelings with roasting. I make it clear to my family that I'm not the one because I'll hold a lifelong grudge. And I think that's fair for you to say from jump. But then don't try to get in the kitchen and you can't take the heat and then feel some type of way, which I feel like a lot of people do with black Americans. Eric, you said the Gladwell essay isn't available on the New Yorker. They want you to pay. If you go to Malcolm Gladwell's website, whatever it is, it might just be like malcolmgladwell.com or something. I believe he also has it reprinted or whatever there on his own website. I do support all black businesses no matter the nationality. I do too, but I can agree with some of y'all's opinions. Oh, Liberian. Sorry, I did say Libyan, didn't I? Sorry, because we were talking about the whole Libya thing. Liberian. Sorry, Liberian. You're right. It was only a matter of time with Shea Moisture. What movie are we watching next week? What was next? We did Men in Black. We did The Fifth Element. We did Pacific Rim. And then there was one more y'all wanted to watch next. What movie was it? That Grapevine panel about Shea Moisture had me rolling, especially the ones with the forgiving spirit. Listen, a lot of, like, as hard as they hold Black Americans to this like standard of hating us because of third grade jokes, it's a lot of foreign born Blacks that will forgive anything if that person is like from their country or like part of their ethnicity or like part of their like tribe or whatever. They will forgive anything. But let a Black American tease their shoes one time and say that they feet are ashy. They hate us for life because they don't see us as a part of them. Like I said, they don't see us as like brothers and sisters. We're only brothers and sisters when it's time for Black Americans to do some emotional labor for them. Then all of a sudden we brothers and sisters, and Black Americans are too American centric. My thing with roasting is I be the one to take it too far. Like someone could roast my big head and I'll say you annoying. That's why your mama left you at my house till you was 14. Oh, I'm the one too. I will take it too far. I will take it too far. Somebody else said Wakanda's in East Africa. When I was growing up though, and I feel the same way about like shit that I even say on the internet and stuff like that, there was like no such thing as like rules of engagement. Like, you know how people nowadays be like, you can't talk about people's kids and you can't talk about this and you can't talk about that. Like, wasn't no none of that. Like, for a lot of us, it was like, bitch, you're gonna get these jokes. Like, we're gonna get these jokes. If it's funny, I'm gonna say it. That's it. Oh my gosh, Just Nickel. I saw a lot of people that were saying that too. I don't believe that. Wakanda looks like it's in Uganda. I try to support first the descendant. Okay, you put a 1 and then you put first. I try to support descendants of slaves first, then I might support a Caribbean-related Black institution second, and then third, I'll support an African establishment. So East Africa. So the survey says we think Wakanda's in East Africa. Yes? I'm an Afro-Latina, parents from PR and DR, and a U.S.-born AA from my high school with Nigerian parents who are doctors, was treated as though she got accepted into one of the top 3 schools in the country. I think Wakanda's in East Africa. And AAs were fighting for Haitian rights because of how they treated them versus Cubans during the 80s and 90s, but they coon and hate us here. Now I've known, buy soybeans. Oh, sorry, Tiffany, you got cut off. I'm like, wait, I'm confused. Okay, let's do that again. I'm an Afro-Latina, parents from PR and DR, and a U.S.-born AA from my high school with Nigerian parents who are doctors, was treated as though she got accepted into one of the top 3 schools in the country because she was Black. The reality is she had a completely different experience than me growing up, and her parents' background, I think, made it easier for her to rise in the education system. I grew up with family who were raised in Brooklyn and Chicago with rampant gang violence and drug addiction, but my mom was college educated and sheltered me from that. So even I was privileged, but I don't have some of the networking that was probably available to the woman I went to high school with. I was a darker skinned Latina, and the white admin at my school once misjudged that I got into the school through a government assistance program, which was not true. I was racially discriminated, but not in the same way that U.S. Blacks did not get accepted into our school because they were not given that privilege unless their schools were closer geographically to Northwest Chicago suburbs. Yes, Tiffany, makes a difference. It really makes a difference. And people don't know, and they don't want to know, and they don't want you to talk about it because then you get called divisive. All foreheads matter. Hashtag all foreheads matter. Small foreheads matter. Because, you know, they say that big foreheads are, like, beautiful. They're, like, a sign of, like, beauty. Small foreheads matter. I think the reason why there's so much confusion as to where Wakanda is because someone mentioned in another video that I was watching that amongst the 5 tribes represented in the movie, they pull culture from East, West, and Central Africa. Oh, yeah, that could be it, too. True. The white-looking Cubans got in because of race, and the United States wanted to stick it to Castro. Yeah, like, there was a whole lot of, like, oh, we don't fuck with Castro, we don't fuck with communism, most of y'all are white anyway, da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, y'all can come and stay. But you Haitians, take your black asses back to Haiti. 1,100 a month, and then why? Damn. Oh no. I don't really sense the same amount of ignorance from Haitians either. I think that's just because a lot of Haitians know what it's like to be hated in their home country because of the whole DR thing. A lot of Haitians be on that stick to themselves waves too. Like, Haitians be like, I just gotta fuck with other Haitians because we don't know what's going on. Like, they know what it's like to be hated in their home country, same as Black Americans, in a real particular way. So, I've never had a problem with Haitians, personally. Like, the different tribes were closed from totally different regions of Africa. $1,100 a month in NYC is crazy. And I lived in Manhattan on the Upper West Side. I mean, I was living in Harlem and in Washington Heights, and it was not, I mean, like, it was the hood, but it was, like, not super fucking cheap either. For real, people don't understand how public assistance fucking works. Why didn't Bank of America move you up? I quit! I quit before they had opportunity. I worked there for 1 year, and I was like, well, I really don't want to starve to death, so I have to quit this job. So I quit. When I got hired, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna like, you know, we're hiring you with the intentions of moving you up and blah, blah, blah. And then I worked there for a year, and I never got moved up, and I was being paid indentured servitude wages, and the manager was playing games, so I quit. I need all this free stuff that Black Americans get. My bills need to be paid. People barely making it alive with $1,200 a month in Jersey, so I know that's crazy in NYC. Yeah, it's a lot. Ryan Coogler is rich. He can afford to reconnect. Like your average broke or middle class Black man try to connect like that. Yeah. Where's my free college tuition? I wouldn't have $40,000 in student loans. And that's like such a pervasive like myth, like urban legend that like Black Americans get to go to school for free. It's so weird. It's so weird. I have $50,000 in student loans. Shonda is absolutely correct. I have Jamaican parents and was born here, so my experience is totally different. Yeah, I'm afraid to get college education because of the debt. I'm saving up to go to community. Do you think we can advance if we stop embracing the fallacy that we're not working hard enough? You mean Black Americans? I think Black Americans need to stop embracing all of this colonizer rhetoric and ideas about working hard and getting ahead, because you have people that are trying to play by the rules of a system that was specifically designed to keep us disenfranchised. So how do you expect to play by the rules of that system and the system work out in your favor? Like, it's deliberately designed to keep us systemically at the bottom. So I think instead of trying to like play by these rules, we have to start working around these rules and upending these rules and creating new infrastructure. And also Black Americans need to take way more advantage of nepotism, because it's also really been instilled in us, and this is like more, in my opinion, like propaganda, like colonizer rhetoric, that nepotism is like a bad thing. That like if you like accept help, this is like I feel a big thing in like the Black American community. If you accept help, or if you like help somebody else, that's like not what you should do. That's like you're accepting a handout, or you know, you should want to like climb up, you know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and like climb up to the top. And like if you're accepting help, or if you're helping others, then that's like wrong or bad or not something you should be doing. But it's like nepotism is how like 76% of all jobs are found in the current market. Like that's how white people get all their shit. Like a friend of a friend, my father's friend, we play golf together, you know, handshake. Oh, my son just graduated from college. Like, oh, I'll look for a spot for him. But niggas don't like doing that because we've been told that we're not supposed to do that. So embrace nepotism and help each other. Black Americans, because other people do it too. Like Nigerians, for example. Oh, I'm Igbo, you're Igbo. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, so you guys can tell me how. I've never heard it said out loud. Igbo. Like, oh, I'm that and you're that. Let's like try and see how we can work together. Shane Moisture girl, like, oh, I'm Liberian, he's Liberian, so I'm gonna keep supporting him. Black Americans have to start doing that. That's nepotism. As an African immigrant in the U.S., I wholeheartedly agree with you. And also, sorry, I'm going to get to your comment. Also, once you even start thinking about like gangs and stuff like that, like when I was growing up in D.C., like there were a lot of gangs, and the gangs were like based around like area, neighborhood, and streets, and where are you from, and this and that. So it's like we can't even work together in a lot of ways, just as Black Americans, for a lot of different reasons. But like again, y'all want us to like look across the pond to like what's happening in Britain. Black Americans gotta like sort shit out here amongst ourselves, like for real, for real. As an African immigrant in the U.S., I wholeheartedly agree with you. Black Americans and Native Americans have systemically had the proverbial boot on their neck since the beginning. The fact that Black Americans have been able to not only survive but thrive in some ways is a testament to strength, which is what I think is what white America fears the most. I agree. Like, we're survivors. And somebody also left a comment on my Black Panther video that was like, they were on the side of Killmonger versus T'Challa because Killmonger was a survivor, right? Like, his parents were killed. He was abandoned as a child. He found a way to survive and thrive and build himself up. Now, we might not agree with his methods. We might not agree with his, his mental state, but he had to survive. And that Black Americans are survivors. They were like versus somebody like T'Challa, who was born into a monarchy, who was born into royalty, who never had to struggle, who never had to survive or worry about survival. And so, like, who really would have made the better king? I was like, you niggas is thinking in these comments. He is. In an interview, Ryan Coogler said that he feels BAs are the lost tribe. I understand that feeling of trying to feel connected to the bigger picture. I understand it too. That white person is statistically proven to get more callbacks for an interview than Latinx people. They think we have it good, but we are literally living with our slave masters. Stats do not lie. Oh, I see somebody else got blocked. Killmonger staying still would fit the bill, though. He should not have died. Yeah. Got him. Somebody got blocked. Many Black immigrants have really bought into that model minority myth. Oh, heebie-jeebie want to play dumb and get a smart mouth. Nah, catch this block. Oh, what did they say? What did they say that was smart? They've been walking that line this whole conversation. Because this whole conversation, we were talking about shit that's going on here in the United States, and they keep wanting to come with, well, but what about what's happening in Europe? And what about, like, you missing the point of this whole conversation? I'm hella afraid about if Medicaid don't approve my monthly anxiety or, God forbid, a medical expense. Can't afford that shit. Yup. I keep telling people that immigrants ran from their oppressors. We are still here. The mentality is different. Yeah. I always knew Black Americans had it tough, but the first time I realized how poor y'all had it was when I watched your Tidal videos. Oh my God, I did a whole series of videos on Tidal. I have the article. It's called Discrimination. Oh, you know what? Ebony, let me screenshot that. I'll look it up. MLK spoke about the Homestead Act and moral land grants given to white immigrants, but not Black Americans. Right. That's what I'm saying. The Homestead Act. They literally were like recruiting like white people from Europe. Like, come here. We'll give you land. We'll give you money. Like, go out west and settle. But not you Black Americans, though. We don't want you niggas. Like. And then people be like, immigrants built this country, and my grandma came here from Romania with nothing and made a way. Like, shut your white ass up. Shut up. And the same way with the way some of these foreign blacks act when they come over here. You can shut up too. Like, you don't even know what we go through. That's why Martin Luther King said we're going to Washington as Black Americans to get our check. Come through with the references. I watch Yvette's videos. Oh, it's a cute forehead. Thank you. Thank you. My forehead does disappear. Like, my forehead is here 1 minute and gone the next. Like, you never know when my forehead might go on vacation. There were also the societal norm of white Americans literally taking our things from us without consequences. Right. Which is why I think the amount of time that Black Americans have been here also matters. Because, again, it's like, if you have parents, you know, that came over here from, like, a country in Africa or, you know, wherever in the 80s or in the 90s, that's a different time period than our families that are the descendants of American chattel slavery, that, you know, we lived here through segregation. We lived here through like the burning down of Black Wall Street. We lived here through Black Americans trying to start shit and trying to get on our feet and getting that shit burned down and destroyed or getting lynched or, you know, all types of things that we've lived through that have impacted us collectively in our ability to like do certain things as long as we try to work within the pre-existing infrastructure. If you came here in 1985 or 1995, like, your family didn't have to deal with that. So of course, just from the time period of when you even got here, you might have been able to do more with less time because of the time period of when you got here. You get what I'm saying? My family roasts me having a very flat face. I have extremely large flat feet that I get roasted for all the time. There was something you mentioned about the effects of automation as the new unlimited resource in capitalism. Are you still going to make a video about that? Yeah, I want to. Like, I keep, because ideas come to me all the time, and it's hard to do right now because I'm doing daily videos, obviously, for Black History Month, but I do want to still do one on that, because I do think of automation in a lot of ways. Like, we've been, like, searching for a way to replicate American chattel slavery. Like, how can we get the most labor for free, for nothing? And niggas done hit on automation. Like, they really hit on automation. iRobot is next week. iRobot. Let me screenshot that so I don't forget. iRobot is next week. I don't know how to PM the Gladwell essay. You can email it to me. My email is on my About homepage of the channel. Probably. Do you guys think roasting is a form of Black survival to make the others strong in a hostile society? Like, you roast so hard, yeah, so that other stuff doesn't hurt so bad. Yeah, it's like a laugh to keep from crying mentality. Like, we're all fucked up. Might as well joke about it. I think so. Yeah. In the movie Sugar Hill, there's a scene where the continental African is literally denying Wesley Snipes just because he's a Black American. Wesley Snipes' character was literally trying to give them business. Not me. I have no forgiving spirit. You're gonna let him step on, yeah, just because he's Liberian. You're gonna let him step on you and mess up your wash and goes? No, ma'am. Yeah. I think that take on roasting is very fair. The rest of the world is going to roast us all our lives. It's both what we're subjected to and what we use as a defense mechanism against it. Yes, I agree. Eat the rich. Rise up and eat the rich. Rise up and eat the rich. I agree. There's no fucking reason for one human being to be worth 100 billion. Rise up and eat the rich. I agree. Hell yeah, let's embrace nepotism and group economics. That's why I can't fuck with Black Greek orgs, talented 10th mentality. I get how they were founded, but now they're just about the brands. It's like they forgot about Marie Antoinette. Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with it too. This idea of like, oh, the poor have no bread. Well, let them eat cake. Niggas is poor. We're poor. Well, go to Africa and build. We're poor. Who's paying for these tickets? Like, we're poor. I've been struggling with the idea of taking part in nepotism for the past year or so. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I feel like I said, we're really conditioned to feel like it's bad. It's a bad thing. But, like, that's the way that everyone else operates except us. Bye, Andre. not mad at Killmonger. He and Nakia had the same goal, just different ways of execution. Nakia wanted to give supplies. Killmonger wanted to give weapons. They just breezed over that Killmonger's mother was a BA. Yeah, they did. And the only other Black American woman we see is his girlfriend that he shoots in the head, which I also felt like was unfortunate. We have all this like Black woman representation and dark skin representation, which is awesome and great, but like no representation of Black American women already. It's crazy because that Let Them Eat Cake line has so much cruel irony behind it, because nowadays cake is so unhealthy, yet it's actually the most affordable thing to eat cost-wise. You silly. We're discriminated against. Everyone wants to be oppressed until they get their power taken away, and we see who the truly oppressed are. Yeah. All this forehead talk is making me anxious. My stick head has been the topic of many conversations, and I feel as though I shouldn't talk. Oh, you could talk. Bye, Richie. I know. I'm late. I'm trying to catch up. We're all fucked up. Might as well joke about it. Yeah, I do. Oh, my foot's not that big, Umi. I wear a size 11. That's why I didn't fuck with her 100%. You want Black folk to rally behind you when it's convenient. What time is it, though? I'm catching up, actually. I'm not that far behind. My email's not there? All right, hold on. I'm almost to the end. I've almost caught up on the chat, and then I'm going to go. The About Me section, you didn't see my email. Let me look again. My channel. About, go to About. You have to go to About and scroll down, and then it's there where it says for business inquiries. It's there. So you have to go to the About section of my channel and scroll down until you see for business inquiries, and the email address is there. Bye, Adelaide. Somebody said, who's worth 100 billion? Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, the Rockefellers, the Mara family, Rooney and Kate Mara, actresses. Their family owns the New York Giants and I want to say the Pittsburgh Steelers. They own like both of those teams, and the bulk of that money was like money that they received from like the government for like various shit that they like used to like start those teams and like put those teams in the NFL. And now they're like super billionaires off money that was given to them just because they're white. That's it. You're right about whitesies and nepotism. Time to make that a word that Blacks incorporate in their vocabulary and use. I'm using nepotism. I need a job after I graduate, but some BAs don't want to help you. It's true. And they'll be like, well, I had to work hard to get here, so you should have to work hard to get here. No, niggas, no. Like, no. No. That is a con. That is propaganda that you have been conditioned to feel. Like, that's that quote unquote like bootstrap mentality. But nobody else is like playing this game by those rules. Everybody else, like, groups, in terms of groups and collectives, everybody else is trying to like help each other. Like, Koreans hire other fucking Koreans. Like, Nigerians hire other Nigerians. Like, but we don't want to hire other Black Americans because we be like, ah, nigga, you gotta work just like me. Like, that's some bullshit. But yeah, I caught up. So I'm about to be outie 5,000, even though it's like a lot of y'all. It's like 135 people watching. So hi to everybody that's watching. Capitalism got people fucked up. I saw on Twitter, I think it was 20 stores that Walmart shut down overnight, but the poorest people were defending the CEOs on Twitter. Wild. No, it is fucking wild. Like, it's wild as fuck. Like I said, that's conditioning. Like, we've been conditioned to like think certain things about like working hard and like value and like bootstraps and like worshiping the proletariat and like worshiping fucking capitalism and worshiping the free market and like all these ideas, but that's not actually the way the system really works. And even the way that the system does work was designed to systemically disenfranchise Black Americans. So like, why are we even invested in that system? You know? I don't know. The free market does not exist. You are absolutely right. And on that note, we're going to go. So, iRobot next week. Same time, same place. I don't know if it'll be the same people because it's a lot of y'all. Thank you for everybody that did Super Chat. I really appreciate it. And iRobot next week. So, I'll see you guys next week. Peace. Great convo. Great peace bait, guys. Bye.